Okay, so a little bit of some issues behind the scenes, and I'm a little late, I know, but we got this set up. I sent the invites out, so all they have to do is just click them, and they can. Hold on, let me fix my mic here, and they can join. Oh my God, this headset! What is wrong with it? Yeah. Oh boy, indeed. Oh boy, indeed. Good evening, guys. Howdy. Hello there. I know, a little late to things. Again, some stuff like behind the scenes that delayed it quite a bit, but it's happening. I sent just a robot and Lao the invites. Actually, hold on. I think other people wanted me to let them know it's happening. Yes, folks, it's time. It's time. It should let me know when they join. Lao's gonna need his brown pants for this combo. One of the Cum brothers versus Lio the Karen Convoy and Just a Robot. Well, Just a Robot is basically the moderator to keep things civil. Although I personally don't think that we need one. I don't mind Just a Robot. So finally addresses my interviews. Okay. Well, we'll see if we get to that. Again, I won't be letting anyone on unless the two of them are cool with it. But the time is yes, the time has come. Just a Rizzler. Oh, Jar is backstage. I'm gonna add him on here. I think. Are you ready? Hold on. I'm gonna make sure. Are you ready? Because I don't want to put someone up on here that's not ready. Okay, I'm adding just a robot in here. Hello.
Hello. And my profile picture is not working. I haven't ever used this thing.
The only reason I use StreamYard is because it's easier. Yeah, I do think he's gonna show up. I do think that Lyle's gonna show up. He made time, by the way. So, but like he made time and was cool with me pushing it back till 8 for me, 7 for him. So I do think he's gonna show up. I don't see him flaking. This is this is not the experience I was promised. I'm sorry, Adam. They're a little upset with you.
Oh, okay. Now I have an avatar.
Fucking all mine. Okay. All right.
By the way, Akumu, since I'm here and we're still waiting on him, what's your avatar based off of?
Well, someone made fan art. It's fan art that I'm using as my profile picture.
Mm-hmm. I always thought it was based off of the God Kid from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, truth. Yeah. So I mixed when I was like working on like what I wanted it to be. I used a bunch of references. Oh, and he's here. He's here. All right. I'm gonna add him on. Welcome.
Technical issues I was dealing with.
No, I get it. I get it.
Because my audio was muted, therefore they didn't have access to my camera. I refreshed the page like 5 times. All right, so what can I do for you, Akumu?
Well, I just have a couple of questions.
Go for it.
So,
and I'm just here as the middleman. I'm probably going to be quiet the whole time. If I need to step in, I will, but I'll probably be quiet the whole time. You're both adults. I'm sure you both can behave yourselves.
All right.
The conundrum video.
Mm-hmm.
You said that I was trying to like control the narrative with it, but you rushed the video out.
I did.
You don't see like the irony with that?
Oh no, absolutely. I rushed the video out because I was asked to because Peaches was panicking.
Okay, so and then also in the video, well, actually not the video, but in the Crystal Flame video, the clips from you, a Crystal Flame, and Peaches talking. That was February 25th, right?
I think so. I'd have to go back and look. We had a few calls.
The part where because I know there's a part where Crystal Flame advises the thread to be made, the Twitter thread that Peaches made. So that part was definitely like February 25th. But the part where Peaches admits to knowing that Slimmers was a minor, Crystal Flame says that was on February 25th, that call.
Yeah.
But then in the 26th video, you said that you doubted Peaches knew.
Yeah, because Peaches said they struggle with memory issues. Peaches said that they know Slimmers was in there. And the context of that was that they knew, like, at least past tense, that they were there. I didn't read that as Peaches knowing at the time that they were in there, that they knew Slimmers was in there. And as I said in my recent video, I had forgotten that exports pull the modern, most common or up-to-date name instead of the old one. So part of that was assumption on my end, which was a problem.
But Peaches in the clip says, well, you know, if Slimmers was there, I know she was like 16 or something.
Yeah, again, I read that as Peaches saying that they now currently know that Slimmers was in there and that they were 16 at the time by doing basic math.
Okay, but so you didn't know about the video that Peaches made talking about Slimmers?
I knew that Peaches made a video talking about Slimmers, but I don't know the full extent. Ah, doggone it. Sorry, Amber Alert. But I never actually sat and watched the video.
Okay. Well, hold on.
But this is stuff Jars brought to me too, after the initial Conundrum video, actually.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I kind of wish you guys had... Oh, sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. Say what you're going to say.
Yeah, I kind of wish you guys had this call a lot. Oh, now I'm getting an Amber Alert. Holy shit. Okay. I kind of wish you guys had this call a lot sooner because, like, I think a lot of headache could have been avoided if it happened sooner.
Well, I did push for it.
Yeah, but part of the reason why we couldn't have it sooner is because I'd imagine in this call that we would have had some of the information that would have been in my video would have had to be in it. And I don't think that Akumu would have kept what other things I had to say quiet about that. So that was my concern. Obviously being busy as well, because I have been working on that video like for a while. You can tell by the fact that it has a 4-hour runtime with tons of screenshots and videos and all that to it. I haven't just been sitting around doing nothing.
Do you know when you started working on it?
Technically, I started working on it back in February. That's where the first draft came from. But then after Peaches pulled their stunt, I just went from there.
And the false accusation supreme statement, you said that came from Kumo and another call.
Yes, and I played that in the video where Kumo, in that call, which, by the way, I have no problem passing you a link to, so you have to give me a minute to get it, says that you and him have been working on the FCK and that you're going to claim that Peaches, Toasty, and Teddy were in a 3-way relationship with Peaches being 20 and Teddy being 15.
Well, his wording was love triangle because Toasty was flirting with both Peaches and Teddy in the server.
Fair point. But the point is, if you're 20 and you're flirting with a 15-year-old, you know.
Well, no, he didn't say that Peaches was flirting with Teddy. He said that Toasty was flirting with Peaches and Teddy in the server.
I see. So that might be a miscommunication on my end. Let me take a look at this and give you the call itself. Because he also talks about how he's sniggering and laughing in the background during all of this because he knows what's going to come out.
And this is a call that was an endless server, right?
Yeah, let me grab you the link. Share the link. Boop. By the way, I know you said you had some family issues. I hope that went well.
Oh, yeah, that's figured out now. Yeah, it took some time, but yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So you have that for your records now.
And in the February 25th, you messaged Laka Mocha Laka.
Yeah.
Asking why they had joined the FCK, right?
Yeah, because I was told that they did. I was curious about why they did it because I hadn't poured through the entirety of the logs, so I had no clue what they were in there for.
So you knew that like people were being invited in there.
Yeah.
So why did you say I was withholding it from everyone?
Did I say you were withholding it from everyone, or that you were holding it from me?
You told Laka that I was withholding it from everyone.
Let me take a look at my DMs.
I can pull it up if you want.
No, I can do it. I mean, they are my DMs. From everyone else is what I said.
Yeah.
The only other person I knew that had it was you and Laka.
Well, your spy didn't tell you that I was inviting other people to get their own copies of the logs.
Well, no, at that point I thought it was literally just you and Laka in there, and of course the individual that I put in there, who obviously didn't get it from you.
You talking about Pink Ranger based?
Yeah, I actually couldn't remember what their screen name was.
So they didn't tell you that I invited Inla or Ren to get their own screenshots?
No, I didn't know about that until much later. I didn't know about that until I think Thuman was in there. But I didn't get that from Thuman. I think that's when the person came and told me who else was in there.
But you knew at the very least of February 25th that Laka had been invited.
Mm-hmm. Because that's when I was told Laka was in there.
Why question Laka for joining?
Because I didn't think it would be something they'd be interested in. Because I didn't know why they were in there. I didn't know who all the people in that server were.
Did
So I
you
found it
say
odd
that
that
you
Laka
had
was
been
there.
forced through the logs?
I looked through some of the logs specifically because of what Kumu, or not. I'm going to get you two confused forever. I'm sure you used to by now, but because of what Kumo said, I primarily just looked at what Peaches had said and put in that server.
Well,
I didn't pour through the rest of them.
Okay. Well, and you said in the Crystal Flame video that it was Xeranthropy that informed you I'd be talking about Peaches.
Xeranthropy?
Yeah, you said that you were informed by somebody else.
Yeah.
And Xeranthropy admitted to going to you about it.
It wasn't Xeranthropy that told me, though. They are a person, but they're not the person who told me.
Okay, so, but you knew it February 6th that I was going to be talking about Peaches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led to the rushing of all of this.
No, what led to the rushing of all of this was when Crystal got the logs and looked a little bit more deeply into them. And Peaches was freaked out that you were going to paint them as a predatory individual. Which you'll find out soon enough because that call is getting released.
Awesome.
So this is the call that you all had about me and Kumo.
You and Kumo? I don't know if it was about you and Kumo, but this is the call we had with Crystal when Crystal got the logs and came to us the day before, or rather the day Peaches put out that thread.
Oh, so the full February 25th call is being released.
If I recall, I don't know if something is going to be snipped out of it because I'm not the one putting it out. There might be personal stuff in there that's edited out, but I do know it is getting released.
Am I still in the call, or because everything?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay, everything just went quiet, so I got a little confused.
Yeah, no, I'm going over some stuff. So aside from the false accusation Supreme comment, which came from an accusation I hadn't even remotely made or was even thinking of making, that came from Peaches. So you took Peaches' assumption and ran with that to YouTube. And
yep.
with
I did, and I can tell you why I did.
I'm listening.
It's because anytime I wouldn't do exactly what Peaches wanted me to do, it would come down to them trying to kill themselves.
Was that for the entire Conundrum video?
That was, well, not the entirety. Obviously, Peaches wasn't even involved with the call that I put out about Conundrum, but I'm talking about most of the time whenever actually not most, 90% of the times when I did something in relation to defending Peaches, there was a lot of background pushing from Peaches about that.
And how long did that continue, this behavior of threatening suicide?
Over a year.
Oh, over a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And it only became a topic because Peaches backstabbed you.
No, it became a topic because I wasn't even aware that I was being abused and everything behind the scenes until I started sharing my DMs with people.
You had no idea that the constant threats of suicide were baiting?
No, I didn't, because I take every time somebody does that seriously. And you know some of these things because you know some of the people I've called ambulances for.
But this happened for a year, Lio.
Yeah, I'm aware. When somebody has severe suicidal ideation and depression, they are going to have more situations where they might want to kill themselves than other people.
Yeah, but this you're telling me that for a year this was a repeated pattern of behavior where
Mhm.
Peaches would threaten suicide if you
Mhm.
didn't do what Peaches wanted.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And there are logs that prove that in the video, and there's
I'm not
additional
denying
logs as
that.
well.
I'm saying like it never clicked up until recently that that was a thing that had happened consistently for a year.
No, the fact that it happened was obvious, but the fact that it was a form of manipulation was not to me.
Okay. And when was it that you realized that Peaches was manipulating you?
It was a few days after they dropped their doc when I opened my DMs and had conversations with other people who were more versed about the topic of manipulation and saw what was actually going on. Because what Peaches did, and I covered this in the video, as I'm sure you've seen, was made it a point to isolate me from talking to other people about these things. Even the few conversations I've had with Jar about Peaches, I didn't tell him exactly what was going on because that was isolated from that. Heck, I even told Jar a little while ago Peaches wanted me to stop talking to him too.
I can confirm all of that happened.
An entire year. I'm still stuck on that. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Like an entire year of Peaches threatening suicide if you didn't do particular things, and being two-faced behind the scenes is something that you show, or two-faced or a contradictory, like saying like retard privately, but then publicly like being against it, right? Like all of this, and like these behaviors went on for a year, or was that just the suicide that happened for a year?
The suicide happened for a year. As far as the double standards of what they said publicly versus what they said privately, they always coached to me, and so did Lumi and other people, that saying specific slurs were fine so long as they themselves are on the spectrum and use it in a form of reclamation, which, as I said in the video, I didn't give any thought to because that wasn't something that was in my neck of the woods. So I let them have it.
So, do you remember the video that you were in with Peaches talking about Nyx?
Jackie and Nyx, yeah,
Yeah.
somewhat.
So do you remember the fact that Peaches talked about the threatening suicide tactic in that video?
Naturally, I remember them talking about trying to manipulate Crystal with that. But a person who does that can also be critical of other people who do while still hiding their own manipulation. How many times have we seen cops that have abused their wives but also will arrest people for domestic abuse?
Fair. But this happened for a year.
Yeah, it did.
A year of every time you wouldn't do something Peaches wanted, or you would even, let's take the Among Us example that you specifically put in your video. You left the Among Us game and Peaches threatened suicide over that. That didn't like raise any bells, any flags, any whistles.
The only bells and flags and whistles is that this person is unwell and I'm trying to make it to where they're okay.
Mind if I step in here real quick?
Sure.
Okay, first of all, Lio Convoy, this is why people think you're on the spectrum. Got to pick up on all your social cues, buddy. And as for Akumu, well, you also need to take into account Peaches was canceled harder than Kuro the Wolf. Like I can imagine someone going through some mental stuff long after something like that happened.
Yeah, but it's the threatening suicide when people don't want to do what Peaches wants, because this is a repeated pattern of behavior that is being said happened for a year and didn't only happen to Lio. And I don't know. I just like, I feel like you're 39. You have way more experience in life than I do. Okay, 38. And you have way more experience than I do in life. And that like never like at all, maybe after the 5th, 6th time this happened, like you didn't think, okay, well maybe something's off here. Why is it every time, Peaches is threatening suicide when I won't do something?
Well, no, why would it? Because while I might have better life experience in some case situations, I don't have life experience about everything, Akumu. I am so sorry. I don't have life experience over everything. There are things Jar has experience with that I don't, which is one reason why when all this started going down, Jar had a conversation with me, giving me advice on how to handle some of this stuff because I didn't have experience in this specific realm of what was going on here. There's times Jar will hit me up about things that he needs and vice versa. While I might be older, experiences aren't universal. And anybody at any age can be manipulated or abused.
I believe anyone can be manipulated, but I think that a year of consistent suicide threats is going to make the average person raise an eyebrow.
All
I
right,
mean,
do
I
you have
get
any-
that you were close with Peaches, but
Mhm.
if it's a consistent thing, like it's one thing, you know, someone has mental health struggles, that makes sense. But if it's a consistent thing where you're being pushed in a corner where either you do what I want you to do or I'm going to kill myself, and this happens multiple times in a year,
Mhm.
I feel like the average person is going to raise an eyebrow and be like, okay, this is obviously, you know, I'm being used here in this situation.
Yep, and you can have that value. You're welcome to it. You did say earlier that Peaches had done this to other people, but that's information I didn't get until later.
And until after, like, was it after you had realized
Yep,
it
because I
happened?
actually, in fact, I can give an example Jar can attest to. When I sent him a message of some of the unhinged things Peaches would say to me, he literally responded with, "Yeah, he's done that to me before. LOL."
Yeah, but she wasn't doing it consistently to me
No,
for a year. Like that,
no.
it's a bit different.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
my
I
point
mean, I
my
get
point
he can
was that,
attest to that, but
he can attest to the fact that they've done it to other people, or at least they've done it to him. My point is you brought it up as, well, he's done it to other people. Well, that's not something I wasn't even aware of until after I started finding this out, which is why I used Jar as an example, because I sent him to that after I had found this out.
okay. And back to the like a crystal flame conundrum video. We'll probably revisit this topic later, but it's just going to be
Yeah,
a
they're
back
two
and
different
forth at this
they
point.
they are two different videos, so that makes sense.
You took down the crystal flame video recently,
Yep.
but with the in the conundrum video, you say that I'm the false accusation supreme. Then you say that I'm slandering Doodle Tones, but then you admit that the role play is real.
Did I say you're slandering Doodle Tones?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Using the word slander?
You want to grab a clip?
Let me pull up my script. Can I do that? Conundrum script. Give it a moment to load. All right, so here's what I said specifically about Susie. But a single example may not be enough to convince people of Akumu's smearing attempts, being an obvious ploy. So here's another one. Akumu has been regularly spreading an RP. Susie did when they were a couple of months past 18. An RP Susie herself did not make sexual, but the other party did. In doing research to properly address this, Susie delved into her old logs and found out that she had been groomed. I was there. I saw how she responded to it. It's an awful thing to discover, but it explains some of the...
Hold on. Let me. You're reading the script, Ryan? Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the clip right now. Where is the video? There it is. Oh, also, while I'm looking at this, we'll
Sure.
get to the smear thing in just a second. I'm not going to forget about that, because
Mhm.
if I'm wrong, I'll admit to that. But you said that I didn't talk about fuchsia. You implied it that I had never talked about fuchsia.
Yeah, Jar brought that up to me that you apparently did 3 separate times. I actually never went to look at your catalog for that. I'll definitely
No, but you
apologize.
knew that though.
I knew that you talked about fuchsia in a
We
video
talked
form.
about that April 1st, 2023.
In video format?
No, we had a phone call. April 1st of 2023, where I told you that I talked about fuchsia. I described fuchsia butter server to you in the
Well,
call.
I'm not going to deny I completely forgot we had that conversation about fuchsia.
Well, even if you don't remember that call or whatever, you still should have at least corrected it in the pinned comment or something, because like
Oh, no
misinformation,
kidding.
like, yeah.
No,
Well,
and I could do
that
that.
and
Not a
I
problem.
know that my FCK series videos were often shared in the synod
They
at
were?
various times. Yeah, that's how you've
Oh,
seen the ZZ meme, and I shared a
well,
couple of them when I was in
you
there
sent
before
me
I
the
deleted.
hold on. You sent me the ZZ thing. You didn't.
Yeah, but
I don't
I
remember
also
you sharing the
shared
video.
them, and people linked them in synod.
That doesn't mean that I clicked on them, Akumu. Like, there's things
Well,
going on in the new server now I haven't seen yet.
I'm saying that it was not only something I told you about, right? But then with my series, which I've been very open about, uh,
Mhm.
I had a conversation with you. I know that we've talked about it multiple times, at least two. We've had 2 or 3 different phone calls previously, and I've talked
Probably.
about the FCK. But the one with April 1st, which was right as we were trying to set up the Nezi call,
Mhm.
I described to you, the fact that the stuff that happened between me and Fuchsia and me talking about the server, I went into a lot of detail about it. And then later you claim that mind you, I've made what 3, maybe 4 videos on Fuchsia,
Mhm.
and you're saying he's never talked about Fuchsia. Why I need accountability directed that way.
Mhm. Again, I completely forgot that you did talk about fuchsia. I didn't even go looking at our DMs to verify that. That's on me.
Okay. But in your most recent video, you said because I made a detail mistake of the Rosa call, you implied that my other videos must be riddled with misinformation. But like,
That's also
but
not what I said there.
you said, yeah,
Let me pull it up. Let
go
me pull
for
up the
it.
script. Do-do-do-do.
Also, while you look for that, I didn't see your full video, Lio Convoy, but did you correct the misinformation about Akumu talking about Butters in the most recent video you made? Did you clear
No,
up that
I
misinformation?
No, I
watched it. He did
didn't.
not.
I completely
Uh,
forgot to address that part because of all the other stuff I had to deal with.
And also keep in mind, I said you made the implication that my other videos had misinformation in them.
Give me
Not
a
that
second
I
here.
said that.
Yeah, just give me a moment because I think I know what you're referring to. No, it's going the wrong direction. Of course it did. Ah. If Akumu can't get a detail that's literally in the very clip he's playing correctly, then what's that to say about the rest of his videos about all this? Yeah, that is a criticism I could absolutely apply to myself too.
Okay. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Sure.
But the back to the smear thing. Hold on.
Mhm.
Let me figure out which word you used here.
Well, I mean, I have the script again.
Smearing attempts. You said my smearing attempts. So that was you gave one example of my supposed smearing attempts,
Mhm.
which was the assumption I was gonna frame Peaches as a predator because of the Kumo call. And then you proceed to mention the stuff with Doodles. But how is that a smearing attempt if it actually happened?
Because I think the way you frame the Doodle Tone stuff is, number one, a problem because you're holding them to a standard that you yourself don't want to be held to, reasonably so. I think if I recall correctly, you've made it clear that you think some of the things that were done when you were younger, especially with the Madame and Slimmers thing, isn't something people should have hammered onto you so hard about because you were a minor. A lot of the things that Doodles did in terms of the quote unquote degeneracy, fetish
No,
introduction and stuff like that. Give me a
that's not
second
my
here.
issue though.
Give me a second. And I'll let you finish in a moment. I think that bringing up Doodles' past actions when they were a minor or when dealing with a grooming situation isn't always a one-to-one. And I think that when somebody does something foolish or out of pocket to that extent when they're younger, there's probably a bigger reason behind it. And I think constantly hammering them on it isn't the right thing to do.
Okay. So my take with the age thing is not that they shouldn't have judged me as hard as they did. I don't ever make that kind of argument. Instead, my whole thing with my series, with all of this, is applying people's standards back onto them. So one of the biggest things that the FCK recurringly did when they talked about Slummers was they said that minors shouldn't be falsely accused, vilified, and attacked by adults with such large platforms.
Mhm.
So I applied that back onto them. And suddenly, well, what's the excuse with me? Why was it okay to continuously falsely accuse me? That's the argument I made. I didn't say that they shouldn't have done so, just that they say you're not supposed to do that, but then did it themselves. That's the whole
Okay.
thing with my age.
Then perhaps I got my values and yours mixed up in that case. I thought we were simpatico on that.
What is happening is you're trying to call him out on hypocrisy when what he's doing is calling them out on hypocrisy. I think that's where the miscommunication is happening.
It's possible.
On top of that, the reason why people find the Doodle Tones like roleplay stuff is funny and whatnot and bring it up is because Doodles has denied it for years since it's happened. That's the only reason people talk about it. Like with Coyote, the reason why people, they still ragged on Cody for the scat fetish, but
Obviously.
they did it less, and they still do, but they don't do it nearly as much because Coyote doesn't deny it. Okay, he just owns it. At least from what I've seen, he would own it in calls. So that's why there's like a distinction there. It's like when you just own up to it,
Mhm.
people care a little bit less. But when
But
you keep dying on that hill,
hasn't Susie owned up to it several times though, based on the videos I was
for multiple years there was denial about it. Actually,
Yeah,
Jar has a video about that.
I would like to come in about this. Yeah,
Sure.
like Doodle Tones was like constantly denying it, saying, "Oh, I'm only part of the adult baby lovers group for research or something," and then like, "Oh, I just drew those diaper artworks for fun," or and then there was what was his name? I forgot what his name was, but
Medicare?
no, not Medicare.
Auto Magic Critic, was it? You talking about Auto Magic?
The black kid. What was his name? The black
Oh,
Jar.
I know who you're talking about.
Jar.
That kid Douglas. That kid
Douglas. Yes, I almost called him YouTube dude, but then I was like, oh no, it's not YouTube. Yeah, but that kid Douglas.
Okay, not related to that at all. But can I just admit I can't stand that dude?
What, that kid Douglas? Is he even still around?
Somewhat. I just cannot stand that clown. He is such a pain in the butt. I have history with him.
Well, I find him to be an American treasure. But point is, he was like, the fact that anyone believes that Doodle Tones has a diaper fetish is incredibly stupid. And I was like, no, there's evidence to support that she does. And I wasn't even saying that she did. I just said there's evidence to support that she does, but I don't give a fuck if she has a diaper fetish or not. And then Ponder was like trying to twist that in her video, trying to be like, oh, it doesn't matter if someone has a fetish, you should talk about their arguments or something like that. But I was just trying to point out there's evidence that Doodle Tones has a diaper fetish, but for some reason she keeps denying it. Guys, I have a maid fetish. I have other fetishes as well. I just own up to them because who cares?
And then, like recently, the recent thing that you mentioned in your conundrum video is that, Doodles had been groomed. And if you go watch Doodles' video on the whole thing, Doodles says the same thing. And then I knew this was going to happen the second I made my fucking comment. It was going to be victim blaming, even though what we're talking about is the degeneracy that existed before the Doodles had met their groomer, which was November 22nd of 2014. So Doodles was doing diaper shitting art, age regression, and role playing. In fact, there is a journal. I read it in a video. Maybe you haven't seen it. I can read it if you want. Where Doodles is complaining about how. Actually, let me make sure I'm right about this before I make this claim. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm. Hold on. Where is it at? Where is it? I know that there is a journal that Doodles made, and I'm fairly certain it came out before they met their groomer. Take this with a grain of salt because I can't find the screenshot right now, or I'd show it. It's probably on my other drive, but it's something about complaint. I swear I read it in the video somewhere. I just can't think of the specific video because I don't think it was the main one on the degeneracy. But anyways, so there's a journal where Doodles is complaining that people don't like transgenders and diapers being forced into the role plays. So, I'm going to quit role playing because people are upset.
Okay.
So that was before the groomer was met. So the degeneracy existed before that. And yet if you talk about it, you and Doodles and Doodles' audience bring up the grooming as if the grooming explains why Doodles was being a degenerate.
Well, Doodle has actually addressed that in their own video, especially recently. My concern was because of the specific incident that was cited primarily by Mad Libs, who's their own bucket of weirdness. that was going to be used primarily as the dunking point against Doodle Tones for the degeneracy, as you would say, when that specific conversation, that specific role play.
Well, hold on. What do you mean by
done.
as I would say? You don't agree that age
Degeneracy.
regression and
Age regression in and of itself is not a sexual thing inherently. There are some people who have made it that, and there are some people who
what about the
fetishize
diaper
it.
shitting?
Diaper stuff, yeah, that is a fetish.
Okay,
I'm using
what
your
about
term. I'm using your terms here, is what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
The
You
problem
finish
was
your
the example. The problem was the example used in this specific scenario was one that was pushed by somebody who was grooming them.
Wait, hold on. What?
The DeviantArt one, right? Because that's the one that
You're saying that
Doodle
this
doesn't
claim
talk
was
about.
pushed by someone that was grooming Doodles.
No, I'm saying that the role play in that DeviantArt back and forth that you were talking about, that Madlib
Yeah.
talked about, was with somebody who was grooming them. That's what Doodle Tones was talking about in their video.
No, Kirby's not Alex. Alex is the groomer. They met November 22nd of 2014. Kirby was a completely separate individual. I checked the accounts.
Okay, I'll double check on that because that was the understanding I had.
And if you want, I don't know if the thread's gone, I do have it like archived. I think it's on the Wayback Machine. But yeah, they're two separate individuals.
Well, while I got you here, I do have a real quick question.
Yeah.
In that you did at some point claim that Doodle Tones came back on an alt. Where did you get that image from? Because I couldn't find that.
Oh, here, I can give it to you right now. It's
Please
so you scroll down on the thread. So Doodles has two accounts, SD the Doodler and I think Doodle Tones. And Doodles made a journal. Medicare actually talked about this journal, and it was regarding the sudden censors is the title of the journal. It should still be up. And this was made the same day, by the way. I think I don't actually. I'll send it to you, but I'm certain it's May 15th. But I'll just send it to you. Where are you at in DMs? Upload file.
You mean I'm not on the top? I thought you talked to me.
No. Where is it at? Fuck. I know I have it on this drive though, so that's the good news.
Here, I'll message you directly. Put it back to the top of your list.
No, I found you now. I'm just trying to find the screenshot. Where is it? Yeah, right here. So here is the journal first to prove that this was Doodle returning on an alt, mentioning that they're moving accounts. Yeah, so I was right. May 15th, 2015, and then the actual role play. Hold on, I think it's one of these two messages. I'm about to send you two things. It's one of these two screenshots right here. Well, actually, hold on. I think I can just send you several screenshots here.
You should. What in the world?
Oh, right here. Perfect. Okay. All right. And here it is, incoming. There you go.
All right.
And if you want a whole recording of the entire thing showing that it goes from one account to the other.
Well, my question is, where did you get this from? Was this the Wayback Machine?
No, this is on. You go to the role play. So you go to the Game Girl.
I did, and I could not find this.
You couldn't find it on the Game Girl post?
No.
Did you not see the Kirby comment?
Maybe it's been a while since I've looked to be 100.
Because I have a recording of the whole thing to prove it. If Doodles, because if you're saying it's not there, it's either maybe it wasn't loading or Doodles deleted it. But I can give you an entire recording of the whole fucking thing.
Okay.
Here, I'll upload it to a Google Drive.
But I want you to be aware my value with this might be different than yours, because usually when people who were minors wind up in these spaces, there's something else wrong going on. So I'm not going to condemn Doodle Tones for any of this as they are now. Just like I personally don't think I should condemn you inherently for things that happened when you were younger during the Madame situation. I think there were some problems there. I think you conducted yourself poorly, but it's not something I don't think you could have learned from.
Yeah, but I think Akumu's big issue is the consistent lying and covering up of it. I think that's what his issue is.
As a community, by the way, it wasn't an effort just from Doodles. It was people around Doodles. I've got screenshots gathered of Doodles' audience. So aside from just people around Doodles, friends with Doodles that have denied it, Doodles themselves, and then also audience members that outright
Okay.
deny it being true. So that's my
Then
issue. It's the
Then let me ask
dishonesty.
you. Let me ask you directly. What would you want from Doodle about this?
Just flat out honesty. Just like just instead of like for example, I don't know if you've seen. Did you watch Doodle's video addressing that roleplay one last time?
I did, and I know that they talk about it again in their most recent video too, where they do say that they admit that they were involved in these groups.
In that video, the addressing that roleplay one last time, there's a clip that's played from an older video where Doodles claims to have been made uncomfortable by the Kirby roleplay.
Mhm.
And that's contradicted because if you're uncomfortable with something, why would you come back to continue it? That's why I brought up the fact that the SD, the Doodler account, returned to continue the roleplay. So it's all I want is like an admission, and then that's it. Like I don't need. Well, I was made uncomfortable, but actually, in truth, I showed up on an alt account to continue it because I think that's contradictory. I don't think if
I
you're
get why
uncomfortable
you.
with the
I
subject,
get.
you come back
I
to
get.
it.
Well, that's not inherently true. I get why you think that, but there's been plenty of times where people have been uncomfortable with things and they'll still come back to those things. I've seen it happen quite a bit, specifically in things that they feel they're pressured into or things that they feel they're getting attention from. I've seen that happen a lot of times with people just letting their entire boundaries and everything down because of other reasons on top of that while they were still uncomfortable. So I don't think that's inherently a contradiction, personally, based on the experiences I have about things like that.
If you're making an account because your grandmother has found out about it, and so you make a
Mhm.
new account, and then you return on that new account. Mind you, this would have been a perfect opportunity for Doodles to just drop it, right? Because if they were uncomfortable with where it was going because of the underage character being groped, that was what has been said. They had the perfect opportunity right then and there to just not continue it. That would have been an absolute perfect opportunity. Oh, because my grandma found out about the account, so I moved accounts. Whatever. That would have been a perfect opportunity, but instead, a new account was made, and one of the earliest things that account does is return to that conversation to continue it.
And I can understand where your value from that comes from, but you're also looking at this from an outsider who's not in that position, because it's been no shortage of situations where people will say, well, if I was in that situation, I would have done this. But we're also looking at things as an outsider perspective without even having all the pieces. Something Doodle even admits they don't completely have anymore, because a lot of the logs from other chats they were in just don't exist anymore. So you and I sitting on the outside saying, well, this would have been a perfect opportunity, this would have been that. While that could be true from our perspective, we don't inherently have all the pieces there, and
Has
we don't
Doodle
know.
implied that there's something more to the Kirby roleplay?
No, but I know Nil has.
The guy with the girl with brain damage.
Yes, but Nil's value on this was very interesting because Nil's like, what if they've been groomed in one specific way in a fetish group of people who knew they were a minor? What's to say it didn't happen in other situations too that might have also, led to this?
Yeah, I just don't think Call Me Nil is the best source because
Did you
Source?
make an
No.
entire video saying that Nil was?
I'm not saying they're a good source. I'm saying that they make an interesting argument concerning this.
All right.
Yeah,
That's why I said from Nil of all people.
Oh, okay. But I think Akumu's magnum opus problem with this is the constant lying, the constant covering up of what happened.
Yeah, because if it's not okay, well, I didn't have that fetish. I just what was I think the original argument was I don't have the fetish. I'm just interested in it. It's not a fetish. I'm just interested in it. And then it switched to for a good while just not acknowledging it. For a good while painting it as though this is like false accusations. All this shit was photoshopped. Now Doodles has never outright claimed that, but Doodles' audience has. So I'm saying like overall, I take an issue with that. And like for example, that video, instead of just saying yeah I did it, and I haven't done it since, moved on. It's oh well I did it, but I was uncomfortable with it. But I'm not going to mention that I returned on the account to like I seriously don't think that if someone's uncomfortable with the conversation, they're gonna come back on a new fresh account to continue it for as long as they did. The role play went on for a month. I don't think that's something like if you're uncomfortable because one of the earliest things that happened in the role play, sorry Chad, I have to get in the specifics here, was the character being roped. And so you're uncomfortable with it. It goes on for a month. You come back on. I don't think that's indicative of of being uncomfortable with it. Maybe later on, you can say in retrospect, yeah, that makes me really fucking uncomfortable. I can't believe I did that. But saying, oh, I was uncomfortable in the moment of doing it, I can't buy that.
Okay, well, you don't have to. It's not inherently a value that everybody's going to agree with, but if that's where you stand, that's where you stand.
Okay, what was the other thing that we were going to talk about that we sort of skirted away? Because we talked about the whole smearing attempt thing.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That's how we got into the conversation we're in right now.
There wasn't something else we were going to bounce back to?
Maybe?
Chat, help us out here. Was there something else we were going to bounce back to?
I mean, I've got some things here, though.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so the reason why I ghosted you in terms of DM was because I figured if I did wind up talking to you, it would be a problem. And part of your communication...
What do you mean by problem?
Okay. Do you know why you were banned from Senate?
No.
Okay. I mentioned it in my video, but I don't go into full detail. You had told me, and again, I have misremembered...
Is this about Nezi Monster?
No, it's not actually. It's about Peaches. You told me
that...
I mean, give me a second here. You correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I clearly don't remember all of our calls. You told me that you would leave these people alone once you got answers from them about the FCK. One was Nezi, the other was Peaches. You remember that?
No. I don't even know why Peaches would be even in the mix of that conversation, because the first time me and Peaches ever interacted was that server that I made and invited the two of you in. Like, I had never interacted with Peaches until that moment. So this idea that I had been nagging Peaches is completely baseless. I'm
not talking about the nagging right now. I'm just asking if you remember that specific conversation we had, because you did ask Peaches about the FCK concerning an image and something else, but I can't remember what the something else was.
So I asked you to ask Peaches about Toasty. And then I asked Peaches in that server about the FCK. Peaches said, "Oh, I don't remember much," and then immediately left. That was it. I don't remember Peaches ever being in a conversation of leave these people alone. The individual I do remember was Nezi Monster.
Nezi?
That is an individual. Yeah.
Well, that might be my memory dicking with me, but when it comes down to it, when you started commenting on something in relation to Twitter back in October, and I remember because I was on vacation. Peaches had a complete meltdown in my DMs about it and demanded that I remove you because you wouldn't leave them alone. So that's what I did.
You're saying October of 2023?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Hold on. The only thing I could think of was that it was I replied to a tweet that I found was ironic, and that was it. That was
possibly. But the point is,
so Peaches had a meltdown over it.
And told me that, why do you talk to this person? Why are you their friend? Which is very loose, obviously. Like, I don't understand why you're around this person. Well, they're harassing me all the time. And, well, I gave Peaches what they wanted. And the reason why I didn't respond to your DMs was because, number one, I thought maybe you were baiting me due to things Peaches was putting in my mind about you. And the fact that I figured if I did respond, Peaches would find out and tear into me for it.
Oh, okay. All right. So you banned me from the server because Peaches cried.
Yep.
And then you ghosted me because of Peaches.
Yep, hold on. One moment, I'll be right back.
All right.
I'll try to save our spot for when he gets back.
All right.
Yeah, here's the thing about Mr. Convoy. He gets a lot of false allegations about himself, but he also seems to jump on things for very bizarre and weird reasons.
Yeah. This Peaches. I mean, one, I don't think my tweet was all that bad. I just remember pointing out something that I found was ironic, and that's something that I always do with people. It's an addiction of mine. But I did it with Manga Comment at one point. But this, I'm astounded that is what led to the ban. Because here's the thing, chat. I was inconsistently told through purely word of mouth, because I was never given a direct reason why I was banned. At one point there was a claim that I had Fox Mafia people in my Discord server. I actually, speaking of, that's a question I'm going to ask him when he gets back, because I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
I vaguely know it's like people like Gilded Poo and
who was never in
First,
my Discord server.
First Ski, I know, is also one of them. Cast War Fox, but
And
like
that, ladies and gentlemen, is number 8.
What does that mean?
That is the 8th pizza somebody's tried to deliver to my place.
awesome.
Interesting.
I love pizza.
Is it already paid for or no?
Oh, heck no. Come on, man. Of course it's not paid for. That's the point. This would be that Neff guy. He's done it to me. He did it to Grimskull. He's done it to several people. It's whatever.
Wait, Neff did it to Grimskull?
Yeah. I know Grim's claiming I did it to him, but I don't know who he is. I don't have a single clue about his real identity. If I did, I would have put it in a video.
And you didn't send the police to Kumo's house?
I don't know who Kumo is.
Okay. But in your video, okay. All right. But then you in your video you threatened to send the police to Gilded's house.
I said that his actions are sooner or later going to attract the attention of the police, and I don't have Gilded's information either, because if I did have all of his information, I would have put it in the video.
All right. I'm just going to step in here real quick. You two can talk about this, but after you guys finish, we have to get back on the topic of why Akumu was banned. I don't.
Oh yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and we only got so much left. Yeah, it was the fact that I had it put in my mind multiple times that you could not be trusted, that you were scheming something, and that you were going to be a problem.
And that was that purely from Peaches?
It's from Peaches and just the general vibe around about other things concerning it. Kind of hard
I'm
to
willing
detail.
to bet there were other people too.
Actually, no. If you're referring to people from Doodle Tones camp, nobody has told me to not.
More
talk
like
to you.
Nezi Monster.
No, Nezi's also never told me not to talk to you.
Okay. So Nezi never said that?
No.
Okay. When I asked you not to tell them that I had the FCK server, and then I mentioned it in the Nezi call, they weren't surprised at all. So did you mention it to them?
No, I don't think so.
Because I mean, they weren't surprised. I mean, they were like, "Oh yeah, they."
Let me look at my DMs.
And also, while you're looking in DMs, do you have any DMs that could corroborate Peaches, like, going batshit crazy because you're talking with me?
Give me a minute and I'll double check. I might. No, the only time I mentioned, or the FCK is mentioned at all in our DMs, is after your call.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and check my. It's going to be a little more difficult because, again, Peach's account is deleted. So give me a minute. I got to find it again.
Not suspicious at all.
No, they nuked all their accounts.
Well, I know that the YouTube accounts are like not deleted. It's like where you can.
No, they're gone. They're gone.
They're fully deleted.
Wait. I heard that from, I think it was Crystal Flame. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on it. But I heard from Crystal Flame that Peaches just privated her YouTube account. I mean, his YouTube account.
They did at the time, but now they think it's gone completely.
Well, but yeah, I can confirm what Leo said. Yeah, Peaches also nuked his Discord. Fuck, it's hard to keep up with new pronouns.
Okay, what about the do you have any group chats that you could try and maybe use to maybe open those DMs?
Well, I have the DMs now, and it doesn't look like you were mentioned in text, but I do know we had. Hold on, I'll be right back. Another pizza.
I think we've got another pizza.
Well, while he gets that pizza, so with the whole Peaches saying you never left him alone. Fuck, I cannot keep up with this shit. Didn't Peaches do a video on you, and didn't you not do a video on them at the time?
No, so Peaches never made a video on me, but Peaches was in the FCK server and was like commenting at some point on a couple of their videos, but I never, that's the thing, I never, even despite the fact that Peaches was commenting, right, the only thing I ever mentioned in like my series was, Peaches was commenting knowing what they were doing in regards to me, but me and Peaches, I swear, we have never, like, up until that time that we spoke in that server that I invited Peaches and Lio into, because I had some misunderstandings over the Septi shit. that is the only time me and Peaches interacted. Then I replied, and I could have easily replied in October about the irony of something. But
Did Peaches at least mention you in their Madame video? At
no,
least?
no, because that was made before me. That was actually made before I showed up. Yeah.
I could have sworn Peaches talked about you in a video. I could have sworn. Like, I guess I was wrong. Huh.
I mean, unless the video was made later on and I just haven't seen it. I can't say that I'm like a Peaches connoisseur of content.
Well, I guess it's just ArtCC people. I just assume they all made videos on you.
Fair enough, fair enough.
And we have a number 10.
10th pizza. Okay.
Yeah. Funny thing is they put Sasu's name on top of this.
Oh.
Ooh. And here's what I don't understand, right? So the phone number the phone number for the order is 1-800-867-5309. How did they fall for this? Whatever. But no, I don't have it in my DMs apparently with Peaches, so it probably happened in call when they freaked out on me about it.
Okay. So like, was anyone else, or was this just a personal call, one-on-one?
Personal call. A lot of our calls are personal. As I said in the video, most of the time, a couple hours after I wake up until Peaches went to sleep, is we'd talk a lot during the day. It was pretty consistent, always private. We'd of course have calls in Senate too, but they acted differently there.
Okay. I'm just like I'm trying to like wrap my head of everything so far that we've talked about in regards to Peaches, because there's like the year of suicide threats to push you to do certain things. And then on top of that, there's, like what made you fold so easily to Peaches?
Because there's somebody I cared about and I considered them family. You're talking to a guy who physically took people into his home. Also, Crystal wants to know if she can join.
Would it be fair to say you're gullible?
No, I don't think it's fair to say I'm gullible. I think it's fair to say that there are times that I can be, but that I am inherently no.
Okay. I saw it. Are you okay? Are you both okay with Crystal coming on?
I am.
I'm just the middleman, so I don't give a shit.
Okay. Before I do have another question.
Go for
I will
it.
send Crystal an invite. Were you behind the email, fucky shit on my email?
Akumu, I'm not smart enough to pull something like that off.
No, I'm not saying like anyone tried to sign into my email account, but I'm just saying it's odd, that a few days before my premiere, when you knew I was going to be talking about Peaches and the FCK, that I'm signed up on a Christian website and then a bunch of porn websites through my YouTube email. And this was done very clearly by someone who knows about what's going on online, because the username, one of them was Chronically Online, I think, something like that. So
Huh?
I'm
no, Akumu, I don't know your email address, but I had people do something similar to me. Somebody tried to create a Dropbox account with my YouTube email.
Okay, so weird people. I just wanted to ask directly because.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I've heard some other things happen too, but no, I had nothing to do with any of that, and I don't know anybody who would. Like, that's kind of beyond what we would do in general.
I don't think so, because you've doxed people, haven't you?
When you say dox, let's get our terms right. Do you mean finding somebody's information, or do you mean publicizing it? Because that's what doxing is publicizing it.
Yeah, publicizing it.
I have done that to predators, and I have done that to scumbags. Are you a predator?
Could you elaborate on the scumbags? What the scumbags?
Scumbag would be a sexual harasser, an obsessive stalker who makes physical threats. So, to give you an example, I would do that to, say, Carol the Wolf. I would do that to, say, these are hypothetical. Could somebody like Cord Kitty. There's a few other people that I've covered in my video content that have been absolute degenerates. So doing it to them is something, but let's say somebody that you might be aware of, the Hey, It's Cosmic person. I didn't do that to them, because while their actions are scummy, they don't breach that moral horizon. So I don't think putting out their name would be appropriate.
Okay. And what about I saw your recent video when you talked about the Jack stuff, and Jack's hounding you and being an annoying 15-year-old, 16-year-old. But my issue with that, hold on, actually, I need to send this invite to Crystal, but I'd like to talk about that. You say in the call that you're going to ruin his life, and then later on you do call the school. You say that you didn't say that he was going to shoot up the school.
Correct.
But when Jax was interviewed, he said that the school thought he was going to shoot up the school. So where would the school get that in communication? If
I have absolutely no idea, because I had to correct them multiple times. As you saw in that screenshot, would you like a more direct image of that screenshot?
Yeah. Wait, are you saying
Sure.
you corrected
the school?
You corrected the school and like
Yeah, because I called the school, I gave them the basic information, and I made it very clear when I talked to them. And again, I shouldn't even be talking about this publicly, because I said in the video I wouldn't go forward with that, because he tends to be unhinged when you do so. I told them he has not made a single threat to the school. And I had 2 people after that initial report call me saying, so was he making threats to the school? No, he's not making threats to the school.
Oh,
that's why I was so frustrated in my DMs with Sarah. It's like, will they please stop and actually pay attention to what's being said here?
I mean, I still think it's a little deranged to call the school to begin with.
Well, that's why I've apologized for that. That was out of pocket. Again, where is that screenshot?
And I'll put it up on stream if you send it to me.
Okay, just give me a minute. I have over 200 images for the video itself, so it's going to take me a moment to find. Okay, there's some of that. Okay.
Geez, Crystal is taking forever to join the call.
Well, to be honest with you, I just sent the link because I kind of forgot.
Nice.
Okay. Well, hold on. This is a screenshot with Queen Seraphina.
Yeah. The day I did it.
School has been informed. Resource officers, police are going to snatch him up and give him a good scare.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that? Hold on. Why
Go ahead.
What about this? Did you think was a good idea? Hold on. I'm going to put this on screen. I promise to do so. Hold on. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this here.
Yeah.
Hold on. Share screen. Yep. Share screen. Where is it at? Window. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone can see it. School has been informed. Resource officers, police are going to snatch him up and give him
a good scare. Yep. Essentially letting him know
that was a good idea.
Because when you have somebody who is talking about being in gang affiliations and owning firearms when they are a child, that is something that probably needs to be looked at in one way or another. The good scare is, hey, your actions don't exist in a bubble. That's what that was in relation to.
But you know why he brought those things up, right?
Actually, no, I didn't sit there and think about that, be chest thumping until later on, which is again why he was apologized to.
Okay, you say what you did was wrong. Okay, but when you give do you have any evidence of you saying sorry directly to him?
No, I don't.
Did you have you replied to a comment of his saying sorry?
Actually, no. In the call that I showed a clip from, I literally said that it was wrong that I did that.
And when was the call held?
Ooh, I can't remember the exact day, but it does have the video timestamp, or not timestamp. It is in the video where I do talk to him about that. And I've talked to him multiple times about this afterwards. It's one reason why I went out of my way to try to help him when he was in trouble. Multiple times. Whether it be him mixing up with predators for some goofy reason, or getting in trouble with other weirdos that were angry at me, or even telling him that trying to get someone to trace some girl he's interested in isn't right.
Okay, so did you speak with him all in one go, or is this all separate calls?
Oh, these are all separate incidents. Like, I had communication open with him for a long time after that call. It wasn't until last year that I blocked him on anything.
Would you guys like me to step in here real quick?
Well, he doesn't. Well, I don't think he recorded the call with the school.
Well, no, I was at work.
And
I don't know how to record things on mobile.
Wait, you saw? Hold on. Wait, you were at work when you called them?
Yeah, because it was during work hours.
The call with Jackson Serafino was while you were at work.
No, the call to the school was when I was at work.
Why would you stop? Why would you stop? Well, one, anyways, you're beefing with this 15-year-old, and you're in this back and forth of an intimidation thing. The whole gun thing was very obviously to try and intimidate you back.
To you,
What do you
yes.
mean to me?
Exactly what I said.
You don't like, okay, how you were like 36 at the time, right? You're saying
At the moment, I did not perceive it as an intimidation tactic. No.
If you show up to my house, I'm going to shoot you. That's not him trying to intimidate you back, so you don't show up. That didn't register at all.
Well, considering the fact that he went on about how he was in gangs and had shot guns before, no, not inherently. But again, I'm just giving you the courtesy of having a small conversation about this because I made it clear in my video I didn't plan to talk about it again afterwards because he does unhinged things whenever you talk about him. So you also continue to push this doesn't help.
I will give credit to the fact that he does unhinged things. I heard the fucking weird voicemail. Okay, not going to defend that.
Then don't continue to enable it either. You're sitting here talking about me being gullible. I just told you how. You're sitting here talking about me being gullible, but you're falling into the same exact trap. I have lined out why I didn't plan on talking to him about it talking about him publicly again, and here you are bringing him up.
I'm bringing him up because I think that the whole situation to begin with is like insane. It's asinine, and this
that doesn't change my point.
The 2 black call. You said you had taken accountability in the call. So like, what does that mean? Because you use that word very, very frequently.
Hold on. Taking accountability is owning what you've done and trying not to repeat it in a lot of cases. There are other times it's not. Some of it involves legality for a lot more serious things, but that is part of taking accountability is owning what you've done, whether it's right or wrong, and moving on with it and not repeating that behavior.
Okay, and in the call, okay, we're talking about the whole intimidation thing. You're saying it didn't register to you. Did you not say that you were going to show up to his house?
I did not say I was going to show up to his house. What I said was if I did, because he said, show up to my house. I said, if I did, how would you even know it was me? I didn't say I'm going to show up at your house.
Well, hold on. Let me grab the clip.
Yeah, I think that would be best if we go clip by clip and talk about them.
No, we're not going clip by clip because I made it very clear if we continue to talk about him, he's going to do unhinged things.
I think he's going to do unhinged things regardless, but
he only pipes up about it when he's brought up publicly. I have been very clear about that. I have given evidence to that. If you want to go about this in privately, that's fine, but I'm not going to continue talking about it publicly. I've addressed this multiple times. And I've told you why.
I'm not letting Jax in. Lyle's not going to be cool with that, and I'd like to keep this going.
Yeah, and the last time Jax wound up on a live stream talking about this, he irritated everybody else there too. So as far as I'm concerned, if you want to talk about this, Akumu, we can do it off your stream.
Well, the reason I'm talking about it with you is because you did say you were going to go show up to his house. You said, all right, that's what we're going to do.
I did not say I was going to show up to his house. And again, I am not going to further talk about this with you in the public sphere. And I've given you my reasons why. They have been lined out and they have been given evidence. If you care about evidence, then you'll respect that.
Lio,
the stream, not the stream, the call. Jack said, he asked, are you going to show up to my house? I want you to do that. I want you to show up to my house. And you said, all right, that's what we're going to do. Does that not, what is like not registering there?
That real quick, Lio, before you reply, remember, blood pressure. I
take lisinopril every day, Jar.
I know, but you're getting kind of heated. Like, let's calm it down a little bit.
Because I made it clear I wasn't going to talk about this publicly, and I've done the decency of letting Akumu say some things concerning it, and I'm not going to any further past that because I am now breaking my word from that video. So do you want me to keep to my word or not?
Akumu, would you like to continue this conversation as in private?
Well, I think the reason why people find it interesting is because you deny saying I didn't say I was going to show up, but Jax asked and said that he wanted you to show up, and he said, all right, that's what we're going to do.
Hold on. I got something else coming in a minute here.
Another pizza?
Well, allegedly the possibility of it being somebody else, but I'm waiting for evidence on that.
Wait, what do you mean? Somebody else?
Well, this is saying that 2 Black is admitting to being the one sending pizzas to my house.
Was this on stream or privately?
I'm waiting to get evidence on it.
Okay.
Does one of you have family over?
What?
I'm hearing background noise. People
I think
talking.
that's probably coming from me. I think someone just came in through the door. I'll mute myself on my end.
Let me see here.
I have a list chat. I'm just waiting for, Lio to finish what he's doing.
I'm waiting to get evidence because I think it's funny people run to me saying, "Oh, this was sad." Okay, well, let me ask for evidence then. It's goofy. They're typing.
Okay, I have the clip.
Oh my goodness, none at the moment, but I'm asking. Good Lord, hold on.
While he gets whatever it is, while he get whatever it is, you want to entertain the chat and chat about something.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be real here. This whole situation with Convoy and the 15-year-old, I've never heard about something like this ever happening on YouTube. Like this is like a unique situation. You know what I mean?
I was surprised by it myself when I was told of it, and I was like, "Bullshit!" Like you're like, I think it was, who was it? I'm trying to remember who told me about it. Maybe Kumo. Maybe someone brought it to me, and I was like, "No way, you're joking! No, there's bullshit." And then I watched the Queen Seraphina video, and that's
Okay,
when I
so
talked about it in my.
Allegedly, Jax was told by 2 Black that that's what 2 Black is doing.
Okay. Well, you'd
So,
have
like,
to ask 2 Black. Do you have him on Discord?
no, and I'm not really interested in chatting with him about it because the worst case scenario, he is the one doing it. Other scenario, Jax is lying about it and he's doing it because Jax has already made it clear that he will do anything he can if he is upset about something, which, that's fine.
I'm not allowing him on the stream.
Well, that's fine.
I have that clip.
It's whatever.
I'm still waiting for Crystal Flame to join.
Hold on, let me message her. They're waiting for you to bring them on, Akumu.
Who?
Crystal.
Okay. I'm gonna hold on before we get into that. I'd like to play this clip, but I will allow you on, Crystal. This is one of the things that I'm very curious about, and I think Chad is also very curious about it as well. Okay. So this is a clip again. I think it's still up. So if need be, it's on Queen Seraphina's channel. But this is the clip of what I was referring to, so that anyone that's watching, they'll know that what I'm saying isn't just I'm not blowing it out my ass here. Where is it at? Video file. Here. This is what I'm referring
you
to.
don't
No,
know.
but you probably
You don't
should
know
be.
yet.
I should be. Give me a few reasons.
Well, number one, I can figure out I can figure out very quickly where a kid lives by their photo, and I'm pretty sure you probably got one running around.
Oh yeah, you come to my house. I live in a gang neighborhood and I have guns, so.
No, I'm
You
not
pull
worried.
up, I'll just shoot you.
Hey, retard!
Oh,
hey,
come here,
faggot.
retard won't. You literally threatened me. Look, you
I'm
come here.
involved because I choose to be. You can sit there. And you,
fucking, you come to my house. I'll put a bullet in your skull. Just saying.
You're not gonna put anything in anywhere. Your airsoft guns don't scare me, son. Sit down and be quiet.
I actually have guns. Fuck.
So he's very clearly in this call clarifying that if you come to his house, all right. So I just want to establish that and then continue this.
It's hard.
I'm not worried about some dumb 15-year-old making threats about firearms. If I want to ruin your life, I'll just call your school and tell them you made the threat, and you won't get anywhere in life. You want to play this game? We can play that game.
Oh yeah. Say it to my fucking face.
You are.
Oh, 35-year-old.
You want me to come to your house?
Okay. He says, say it to my face. You say you want me to come to your house.
Yeah, do you want me to?
Okay, cool.
I'm scared.
Okay, cool. Then that's what we're gonna do.
Can you reblind that?
Sure. Yeah.
To your house?
Okay,
Okay, cool.
I'm scared.
And that's what we're gonna do.
I thought it was in relation to me talking about finding his information. So, man, clearly I was in the wrong on that one. So I'll apologize for that.
Well, this is the thing that everyone's been curious about, because each time you talk about this since it's happened, you've denied saying, well, I never said I was going to go to his house.
Yeah,
This
'cause
was
I don't recall
talked
saying
about
that.
in the. I mean, you've talked about this before.
Why do you think I
Watch
kept
the
directing
video?
Two Black? Why do you think I kept directing Two Black back to that call? If that's what I thought I actually said, why would I reinforce that by telling him to go back and re-listen to the call?
And the dozens of people that have made videos talking about this, you haven't watched any of those videos?
No, I actually haven't, because I've been a little busy, Akumu.
What about Gilded when he talked about it?
Didn't watch his video either.
And my LARPer Lyle video, you haven't seen that one?
No, I haven't. I haven't watched any of your content concerning that.
Like I know the Fox Mafia has talked about this a lot.
And I know you
No,
talked about the Fox
actually,
Mafia.
They actually didn't talk about this a lot. This is something that primarily Gilded Pooh apparently talked about.
Yeah, but wasn't he a part of that group?
Not at the time he talked about it, no.
Okay, that was a mistake on my end then.
Also, speaking of the Fox Mafia, you said that there was Fox I think it was you. Take this with a grain of salt, and if I'm wrong on this, I'll admit to that. Did you say that there were Fox Mafia people in my Discord?
I can't remember if it was your Discord or Kumo's, but I know there's at least some in Kumo's. This is part of the problem of you two having similar names.
Well, this was allegedly the reason. I've heard through word of mouth on this, so I can't again quote it right. But when I was trying to figure out why I was banned, which you've told me now today, why I was banned is because Peaches was crying about it. One of the reasons I was informed of through word of mouth was that I apparently had Fox Mafia people in my Discord server.
I think you may have, but that wasn't the reason why you were banned, I don't think. I'd have to look at the logs in terms of what was said publicly. But I know you had a couple of people who were in there in your Discord. That would be Grimskull and Foxton. Grimskull and Foxton.
I don't recall Grimskull ever being in my Discord server. I could check, but I don't think Grimskull...
He was. It was a mutual server of ours that we had for a while.
Let me make sure.
Go for it.
Did he leave it?
Probably. I think he left all of his connections once he got a pizza sent to his house that for some reason he still thinks it's me.
He might think it's you because of that clip where you said you might get a free pizza.
Yeah,
but that would be a free pizza. What? And that was a joke. That's not something I do to people.
I know. I'm just saying that might be what leads to him thinking that.
Well, it's odd because he came at Pizza sideways too. It's like you gave somebody my email. And Pizza didn't even know who Grimskull was.
Yeah, so Grimskull's actually in chat. He's saying he was never in my server. I'm looking. I can't even find any mention of him in my server.
I know Foxton was there.
Foxton was in my server, yeah.
So that's probably just go ahead. It's probably just assumptions of the pair being around each other all the time.
Yeah, but you said Grimskull was in his Discord. I think
Could have
that's
sworn he
what.
was. Could have sworn he was. Because I remember clicking on his account a while ago when we were talking, and it said that we shared a server with you. I could have sworn it was your server.
Also, Crystal's in the back.
She has been for a while now.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to let Crystal on.
Dork.
I have a couple of things on afterwards to ask, but it is time to let Crystal on. All right, let me close this out here. Remove. All right, you're on.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So, oh boy, I've been spoken about a lot in the context of actions, and I would love to clear a lot of stuff up, especially the FCK stuff, because Akumu, we never talked, which makes me very sad. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we've never talked. It's sad. Anyways, so in relation to the FCK stuff, oh my god. So I'm releasing that call. That call was out today, actually, and I messed up the audio. Which is kind of funny. Me when. Anyway, so I'm all for making that call fully transparent. I was brought into the FCK situation and self-inserted myself way too quickly. Basically, I'm gonna be completely honest. I was completely poisoned the well about you. Like, I thought you were a really bad person, Akumu. That was the whole premise of the Senate. Don't talk to Akumu. Don't talk to Kumo and all these people. I wasn't allowed to. I felt the pressure. So anything, again, this isn't going to be pro Lio. Sorry, Lio, but
that's fine.
It was a mixture between Peaches and Lio and the whole Senate mentality being like, don't talk to these people. These people don't care about any of the victims in the FCK and or anything like that. So yeah, that was the premise of that. When it comes to the call, because this was also confusing, the idea of it was just before Peaches threads came out. So I was the one, same with Lio, who advised Peaches to make that thread, because again, that needed to be addressed. I was the one in the call. Again, I don't stand by anything I say in that call because I was very misinformed. I actually watched your videos, Akumu, and I was like, hold on, you're kind of cooking with this. So I take back a lot of the shit I said, but again, transparency, we love to see it. Trying to think what else was said, or just any questions you have for me, Akumu, because again,
well, I just want to make sure that the call where we're, Lio and Peaches are talking, and they mention the Twitter thread, and Peaches says, that they knew Slimmers as a minor, was held on February 25th. I just want to make sure of that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I can go back and check. But yeah, no,
I would appreciate that, because I've consistently made that claim, and I'm fairly certain it was, but I want to make sure I'm right on that.
Yeah, no, I can go back and check. Give me 1 second. Because this was made literally this is my own words back then, to beat you to the punch. Because I was under the impression, again,
that's why Lio rushed his conundrum. Yeah.
Yes, completely. Let me get the exact date. 1 second. The exact date of that call, I cannot see. Thank you, YouTube. Yeah, the 25th. You're correct with that date. Okay. So yeah, that happened on the 25th, an hour before your video came out. Not an hour before, like a day before it, because you set up a premiere, and that's why everyone just kicked into action then. I'll send it to you in DMs. Apologies for that absolutely terrible screenshot. This is when the call was held my time, the UK time. Again, be uploaded to YouTube. Very terrible quality. We love to see it.
Okay.
It was also a thing which, Lio, I wish you corrected me on, was because I didn't know you and Akumu talked about butters before.
But I didn't even remember that. I didn't even remember that we did until this stream. So
okay,
I have a clip of it. I put a clip of it. You said that you don't watch my videos, so there's that. But there's a clip of it in. I think the full video compendium of everything. Yeah, it's in
probably.
Yeah, because Akumu has literally been covering butters for 3 years now, and I was under the assumption that they didn't, and that again, I was really misinformed in that call, because I was under the impression this whole time, like, oh, Akumu and Como are these evil people who are trying to spite the Senate and get ahead of Peaches and Lio, and it's just like, man, I believed it, and I feel like an absolute fool, and I wish I was informed more. Because Akumu has, again, I don't give a shit about any of the other CC drama and or anything like that. I'm barely involved in it. The only reason I'm here is because of Peaches. Love him for that, by the way. But no, Akumu has so many points to make in the idea that he has been talking about this for actual years. He's been calling out people like Butters and everything like that for years, and everyone didn't listen to him because, from this is my own point of view, the Senate completely tarnished his image.
Well, it wasn't the Senate that did that.
Oh, not the Senate?
Yeah, that wasn't
wasn't
us.
Okay, no,
Oh.
again, this is just from my point of view. Like, again, I
So,
could be wrong.
so what happened was the art community did that through the
Yeah.
FCK. And then the reason Senate has such a disliking is because Lio did collabs with Peaches. And then that had Peaches' audience flock to him. And then he did collabs with other art people. And so he gathered the same audience that were watching all the various videos that the FCK people made on him.
Yeah. Go on.
That's really it. It wasn't the Senate that did that. It was more so. I mean, the way the Senate handled the Nezi call, I have issues with, which we can talk about that.
Yeah, we
But-
can talk about it later if you want.
Yeah. But no, again, like I said, I don't know about all the law, and I don't really care to know about it because I don't want to be involved more than I already am. But it's the idea of like,
Can make you eat a
No,
lore.
I
Can make you
no,
do it.
please, I will cry. But no, it is. I'm glad you guys are finally fucking talking, because the snide comment, not from both, but just the overall just cloak and dagger approach this has been for like what months, like years now. It's really tiring,
Years.
and a lot of this can just be talked about.
I've offered to be the middleman between Akumu and people in the Art CC for a long time, so I agree with you, Crystal. I wish this happened way sooner.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, Lio did say he wanted to rip me in half the second he gets. So
I did. And again, that
what
was
was
also
that
put-
about, actually?
I can't even remember when that happened. What was that? Was that one of the leaked Senate calls?
It was
No,
around,
I think it was the conundrum video.
No, it was the DMs with Jar. You said
DMs with Jar. Okay.
Yeah, now I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, that leads to one of my questions. Were you the person who put my wife in a video, or was that Kumo?
No, I've never put.
That's
your wife
why
in a
then.
video.
That would be why then. I got you two mixed up again.
I'm trying to think what else there was to say. Oh, another side point is that Jar, I have corrected the information about Peaches. It was originally everything was private, and I was keeping an eye on it with like the document with everything along those lines. But then, as of recent, within the last week or two, I'm 80% sure that Peaches has completely nuked their live channel as well, because I think the Peaches hosted their document on their live channel, and because they deleted their live channel, that's why both of it has gone at the same time. That's my assumption, at least.
Thank you, Crystal. I will add information to my video on Peaches when I finally get started on it.
Yippee.
Yeah, like I know I'm done with drama for the most part, but like I've done like 5 videos defending Peaches, so I kind of have to say something.
Yeah, no, of course. Another point I would like to actually back up Akumu on, because this is the main turning point for me. Like, again, I was all for watching all the videos covering this stuff, is the point that Akumu raised with Nix and Jackie compared to Peaches. Because Peaches fully understands the implications of someone putting someone's life on another person's hands. That stressed me to living hell out when Nix and Jackie did that to me. So Peaches fully understands that, and Peaches talked to the Senate and the surrounding community. So it does for me confuse me as well. Like, how did you see the impact it can have on other people, but you couldn't relate it to yourself in that regard? Lie.
Sorry, I had something show up. Can you repeat that one more time, please? Because actually, just real quick, I want to backtrack a little bit on this. So no, what I said about you in that was in relation to things that Peaches had hammered on me about Akumu. So that wasn't in relation to Kumo. So I apologize for the misspeaking on that one, because I just checked my DMs with Jar concerning you. So no, that's
what
on me.
Prompted the I'm gonna rip him in half.
Because Peaches was telling me you were harassing them, that you wouldn't leave them alone.
Wait. No. The ripping him in half thing was that was the banning thing. The ripping him in half thing was because you thought he put his your wife in a video, but it was
No, I'm telling you that's incorrect. I was thinking of a separate incident. The ripping him half thing.
I got banned from the server because
for the harassment. Yes, and then Peaches telling me that you were still harassing them. So that's why I said ripping half. Yes, well, not in February, but that was the idea that they kept putting in my brain about you. So that's where that comment came from.
I have to look at all this, like take a step back and look at all of that. Why, like, what made Peaches have, like, out of all people, have such that much control over you? Because I know you had the other adopted kids, but Peaches seemed to be able to easily play you like a fiddle, like a piano, just piano master in that shit. Okay, Stevie Wonder.
And now I have Jax calling me. This is why you don't talk about him publicly, Akumu.
Are you certain it's Jax? Is it the same number?
Hello.
Hey, this is Dred. I did not order pizzas yet. Just gonna give you a little heads up. I know who did, but I didn't. All right, I know you accused me on. They're not letting me in, so I can't have a voice. But I did not order pizzas to your house.
If you have evidence, give it to somebody who can hand it to me, Jax.
Tell him to tweet it to me.
Akumu. Well, hold on. So you're not snitching, but you're telling me that 2 Black did it?
Oh my god.
Then who did it?
I'm not gonna say who. I ain't snitch. Ain't no rat. I'm not 6'9".
Well, you just did, and you did it in front of an entire audience.
When did I say 2 Black did, dumbass?
No, I'm saying you said you're not snitching that somebody did it, but you just did. You may not have given me a name, but that's still snitching, my dude.
It's still snitching.
Well,
did I say it was 2 Black?
If you're saying no, I have people telling me that you said it was 2 Black.
Who? Wait. So people are saying it's 2 Black.
People are telling me that you said it was 2 Black.
I never told anyone that 2 Black ordered. No.
Okay. Anything else for me?
No, I just want to tell you I'm not ordering pizzas because kind of bullshit you accused me on the stream.
He's being told that. That's why, and he said it was alleged to give him credit. He did say it was alleged. He had no proof.
I did say allegedly you, according to Akumu. But while you're here, I will again apologize for the grief I gave you in that call and for calling people on you.
You just probably, man. I'm being completely honest with you. It kind of seems it's because you're losing, man. Look,
what am I losing?
I'm being completely honest with you. It kind of only seems like you care for clout.
I don't care about clout. If I cared about clout, I wouldn't be talking about this at all in a video or anything.
Wait, how old are you again?
It doesn't really matter, Jax. If you don't want the apology, then you don't accept it. But considering the fact that you decided to also harass me and send me voicemails is a problem too.
Yeah, those voicemails were weird as fuck.
Jax, you have actively tried harassing me for the better part of a month now. I don't think you really have a place to talk about other people having a life, my dude.
Instead of just fucking paying attention on clout on YouTube, which is very degenerate, being completely honest with you.
Jax, do you still plan on joining the army?
Do I plan on joining the army? Yeah.
Then you need to knock this nonsense off, like just being 100% with the chief, because this is not going to be good for a recruiter.
Jax.
You've done a lot worse than me. I mean, I'm not the one threatening kids, doxing people, trying to scare people.
I never doxed you, Joe. I never doxed you, Jax. You know that, and I've told you that.
Well, no, okay. It wasn't that you doxed him, but you did acquire his personal information.
Well, that's what he's claiming, which, again, doxing is finding private information. I didn't find anything.
Do you not think it's a little weird to ask for a 15-year-old?
Hold on.
I want to let you know, I don't put my school publicly or my name. So, that's kind of, you kind of just prove your own point.
I'm not really proving any other point other than the fact that I think if you want to be in the army, Jax, you've got to change how you operate, son.
Just hang up on him.
Yeah, and join the Marines instead.
And Jar says to join the Marines instead. And that's why we don't talk about him publicly.
I think that it was needed to point out that you did say that you were going to go over to his house, which is something you have been denying for a while.
Okay. Anything else?
I have a couple questions. So you said that you treated all your kids the same.
Mm-hmm.
But Peaches, like, very obviously again, was playing you like Stevie Wonder on it. I'm like,
I gave every single one of them the same amount of affection and attention and time. Peaches wanted to hang out more, so Peaches had more access to me. The others didn't want to. It's not the exact same as you showed them more attention when they didn't want it or whatever, or saying, well, they played you like Stevie Wonder. Akumu, I'm just going to be blunt with you. This is one reason why people think that you're a victim blamer, because your entire point is, well, you should have known better. You should have done this. Manipulation happens to anybody, and so can abuse at any age.
I don't think asking fair questions about the fact that Peaches manipulated
Asking
you
questions?
into doing. Yeah,
Asking
I don't think
questions,
that. I don't
no,
think
but
that's
making
Lio,
comments about
Convoy, let Akumu finish,
What?
please.
I don't think that's victim blaming, because I'm asking you because you yourself said that you were easily manipulated multiple times throughout a year into doing shit you didn't want to with suicide threats, and then on top of this, you state that you blocked me because Peaches cried. Then you said you were in the DMs with Jar talking about how you're going to rip me in half because Peaches was still complaining about me.
Yep.
Was any evidence at any point ever provided to you for any of this?
I asked for it, and
you
they
never
told
received
me
it?
they told me that it happened on Twitter. I asked for screen caps. They said no, and I asked, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And it would always be, well, you think I'm crazy. You think I'm lying to you. You don't believe me. I should kill myself.
It's one thing surprising I concur with of the idea that
Here's again.
Block his
it
number.
is interesting.
No color ID. I can't block it.
It's an interesting aspect of it because again, it is a point where I'm not going to dig into it, but again, the control that Peaches did have over Lio is concerning. It's something I voiced to him privately and I voiced to him here, because as you can see, like, you were banned from the Senate, you were made out to be this horrible person. Where I believe that that's on me. I should have talked and explained stuff. So I'll put my hands up to that. But literally, that one thread I put on Peaches was more than able to completely control Lio on making a video on me. That video was because apparently I called Peaches a predator or a groomer, which I never did. And Peaches would completely berate Lio about you need to do this, you need to get this video done before everyone else because Crystal did this, Crystal made me out to be a terrible person and everything along those lines. So it is a scary level of control that Peaches has had over Lio, but I do get why people are curious about why Peaches.
I want to especially reverse the whole his suggestion, his implication that my videos are possibly like worse because of some details that I got wrong. Like with the Rosa thing where he said, that wasn't, referring to Rosa, although there's a plethora of like other clips that I could have used. You were right there, but I don't think it ultimately changes my point in that clip. But you implied that, my other videos must be some like form of mess of misinformation. And yet what we're finding out is that you're seemingly easily manipulated.
Come on.
And also that you made claims, you took claims yourself. You got onto me for, putting out claims and not like 100% fact checking them in your most recent video.
Do you not think that there's a difference in terms of severity of what I've said versus what you said? You literally called me a degenerate and pointed to Shota zoo file accounts as though they were mine without fact checking it yourself.
I made sure to state alleged and that there wasn't evidence to prove it quite yet. And I went to Hidden. You know this. I know that Hidden informed you of this immediately. I asked for screenshots to ensure that I went to you immediately and said, look, if I can get any sort of information, explanation, I'll gladly retract the claim. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, but why didn't you look into it yourself was my question.
Because I didn't know how Fur Affinity works.
You couldn't have asked somebody else?
I don't know anyone that uses the website.
So Kumo does?
I didn't get it from Kumo. Someone else gave it to me. That's another thing that you state in your video, that I got it from Kumo when I didn't. Or you mentioned the Ink Bunny shit, which I didn't even talk about.
I see.
Or you state that I was going to try and use it to call you a child predator, but like...
No, that wasn't you. That wasn't you that I said that. That was Kumo, because Kumo made it clear.
Kumo, what about the Fur Affinity would be used to call you a child predator?
One at a time, you guys.
That would be the, from what I understand, the amount. Hold on. What's wrong with this thing? the Shotokan detailed in the Fur Affinity points to pedophilia.
Okay, well, I didn't see the Shotokan. I
Gotcha.
saw purely just furry porn.
Which is gross.
Yeah, it is pretty gross.
Oh, another thing that I'd like to point out is that in your video, the most recent one, you play a clip of me pointing out, what was it specifically? Hold on. It's on the tip of my tongue here. The fact that I stated that you had the logs for months.
Mhm.
And that I was grandstanding you for it and making excuses for myself. That's not what I was doing, and I think you know that because you didn't actually play the
Grandstanding?
clip I was responding to.
I wasn't saying you were grandstanding. I said I found it. Let me find the script itself.
Because you don't show the clip of what I was responding to. You just play the part of me taking issue.
Sorry, it's a 61-page script. Give me a moment. I said, I'd also like to point out that he also likes to point out that I had the logs for a few months but didn't cover them, getting awfully upset that I was busy and didn't, while making excuses for himself not covering them earlier. I hate to break it to Akumu and his audience, but I have a full-time job alongside that, other things I do. I was also never told there was grooming going on in that server, as it was apparently external to it, nor do I know all of the possible minors that were in it. It's why I initially thought that Peaches and others didn't know there were minors. Heck, even with Slimmers, I forgot the exporters pulled the most recent form of the name, so I didn't even recognize them and assumed that no one else did either. I was clearly in the wrong for that, so I'll apologize for it. How is that grandstanding?
So you play a clip of me, and you don't play the clip of what I'm responding to. You just play what I state, and then you say, "Oh well, I'm getting on to you for this," which wasn't what I was doing. I wasn't judging you for not talking about it. And I think you know that because in the DMs with Laka Mocha Laka, you say that I was withholding it from everybody or everyone else.
I said everyone else. Yes.
Okay, we can be pedantic about it, sure. Everyone else. Then you state in the February 28th Senate call that I had these logs and did nothing with them.
Yep, for that time period.
Okay. So my issue and what I was responding to in that is that argument of, oh, well, Akumu's had these logs for months and did nothing with them. This is coming from someone else who had these logs and did nothing with them. And also, I wasn't doing nothing with them. You were well aware of my series. We talked about it in calls. I detailed it in the call on April 21st. There's several DMs between the two accounts that you and I have where I'm getting into what I'm going to be talking about in my series and the fact that I was working on all of them. Back then, I had less free time than I have now.
I'd have to go back and re-listen to that Senate call because I don't remember everything that was said in there. So I'll be happy to do that if you can pass me the link.
Sure.
Thank you. Now, it's almost 9 o'clock, so do you have anything else?
Hold on. Well, let me get you this, and then yeah, I got a couple more questions.
did we get to why Akumu was banned?
Yeah, it was Peaches.
That was a while ago. You literally cited it yourself, Jar.
What? Dude, I'm barely paying attention here.
Oh, come on!
All right, here it is. Here's the February 28th Senate call where you point out to one of the people there that I had the logs and was doing nothing with them. I don't know the timestamp, but I promise you it's in there.
Okay, I'll take a look at it when I can. But I will say that going forward, my DMs will be open to you. And if you got anything else, feel free to pass it my way. We'll have open communication going forward.
Yippee. Here you go. Let me pose this question then. As you know, now have an admin in the Senate. Would you like me to go
British.
back? I know. How dare you give another British person admin in the Senate? Terrible mistake. Anyways, would you like me to go for both of you for clarity to this transparency? Because there needs to be that now at this point of time for me to go back through the logs myself to see if I can find any conversation about Akumu relating to his ban. So so everyone's clear.
You can. We can pour through that together if you want. That's fine. You had the logs.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like just having a clear state, being like, okay, this is actually what happened. Here's the timeline.
Yeah, you know by now that my memory is not 100% the best at all times, so it's best to double check.
Exactly.
So when it comes to the back to what I was stating about like the kids, and you stating that you treat them all the same.
Mhm.
With the situation with Peaches, could you like give me an idea as to how they had similar treatment? Because it looks like Peaches was easily able to just tell you whatever, and you ran along with it.
Well, at the
While
same
the other
time,
kids, there are instances of you getting onto them. In fact, you talk about getting onto them and whatnot, and having to do so.
because if you actually look at it from a more broad perspective, all of them did something like that in one way or another. So with Peaches, they manipulated me emotionally and forced me to do things using their life as a line, but the others just mooched off of me and stayed around and had me take care of all their needs when they could have taken care of themselves. So again, it's not the only person that's done that. When it comes to Peaches specifically, the things I had to get onto them about were not things that Peaches inherently did. So the way that specifically Peaches operated towards me and the wife wasn't how Jordan and Jay did. I had to get onto them for things like that. A good example is at one point in time, Jordan, for some reason, was claiming I threatened to hit him, which I didn't. And I got onto Jordan for that. That was a claim that Jordan made publicly that I had to address. Peaches didn't do that. All the talk Peaches did about me, and Crystal confirmed this, was in places I didn't see.
A lot of the stuff was said behind the scenes. Like, again, Peaches would just like, it's not just Lio. People just shit talk and poison the well for multiple people. They did that for me, with Harley, with Omnia, with Lio. Like, it is a common trait, and I've only seen like an inch of it, knowing Peaches.
And again, it wasn't just poisoning the well against you, Akumu. They did it to me towards a lot of other people too, which is detailed in the video.
Like, in no way, I just want to say, just because, again, this is on both of us, Lio. It's just because someone poisons the well, we need to look into it ourselves. We've both felt the Peaches dripped. Yes, we need to definitely check stuff. So, yeah, while Peaches is a horrible person, we still need to put our hands up to where we both fucked up.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It's like, again, that's why with me, when the video came out on me and then we started talking again and you explained that, while you're working it all out, this is what happened, A, B, C, and D. I was like, okay, I will provide you this sense of understanding. Of course, I'm still hurt by what's happened. That video should have never been made. I'm happy you took it down. But there's a lot to it. It doesn't take away what you've done, but it adds an explanation behind it.
And my only regret about that video, other than it initially being made, is that my response had to take so much longer that it stayed up. And there are people who are wondering why I didn't talk more publicly about a response. It's because I was being watched. And I said it in the video. I said it in the video, and I'm not going to state it here publicly, because this is actually a question Akumu had from the stream. Well, what dox information does Peaches have? Because I know you give out your information freely. There's different types of doxes. One thing that Peaches has, like, that would be a major problem if it gets out. Nothing legal, nothing illegal. It's just something that I'm not going to bring up. And I worried that if I was more open about when the video was coming out or all that, that Peaches would panic and put it out then and kneecap it. So,
okay. Did you know that this was did you know that like the whole thing with Lumi, because you knew about the countdown? Did you know that was about you?
No, in fact, I can give you evidence about that. One moment.
Well, I'm not saying you have to provide evidence you didn't know it was you. I was just curious if you had an idea as to this was coming, because I knew a couple of days ahead of time that this was coming out.
And I'm guessing Lumi's the one that told you?
No.
Okay. Then who did?
I'm not telling you that.
All right.
Wait, so I'm curious myself now. So you knew that the events to the Senate was going to happen before it happened?
Yeah, someone mentioned to me that there was going to be some kind of thing coming out, accusing Lio of being an abuser, and then I was like, oh well, why does Lumi have a date that keeps changing in the bio? So I put two and two together there.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
No, but that narrows down who it could be, so it doesn't surprise me.
Another question though. So in the February 29th call where you discuss JESP, 35 seconds in, I'm going to link this to you. If necessary, I'll play it on stream. Okay, thank you. You made the claim that there's a predator in Endless Server, but you refused to tell who it was.
Did I say predator or did I say like a weirdo or a sexual harasser?
Hold on, I'll get yours. I'll quote you word for word right now. Hold on.
Please do.
Hold on. Maybe I need to show this on stream. Hold on. I got the timestamp wrong, I think. 1 second. Well, I get that timestamp. Do you have any questions for me?
Not something I'd ask you publicly.
Okay.
I have a question for both of you. What's your plan after this call? Because again, this has been going on for way too long.
Going to bed because I'm tired and old. I literally took a nap today and told Jar, hey, I don't want to miss this thing. So if I don't wake up, call me.
I mean, like, not just like in the next hour. I mean, this in the next few months. Because yes, while this is a funny back and forth for everyone else watching, this is stupid at this point. This should have never got this far.
I told you.
I'm not paying on anyone, but it's just
I really wish you guys talked it out sooner.
Mm-hmm. So, Kumi, what's your plans after this call?
Hold on.
He's trying to find a clip. Give him a minute.
Oh, fair enough.
Hold on.
You could use the transcript tool. That might help.
So you said we found out who that guy is. You didn't say predator. You said scumbag, and was saying like this guy commissioned porn of people, all kinds of people. And you said find out who the guy is.
Yep, I did. Because it should have been easy, and they did find out. Matter of fact, they apparently found out. What they apparently found out.
You like to play the guilty by association game, so wouldn't you like to tell the people so they can remove him? Wouldn't it be easier that way?
No, it wouldn't, because frankly, we talk about guilt by association, and we can get into that later. But in-laws kind of proven they don't actually care, in my opinion.
Could you elaborate?
Well, they have Kay Cosmic in there, who admitted to stalking and harassing children. They have former Fox Mafia people in there that have no question of salacious activity in the background. They even have, again, Vlad Gilded Pooh in there, despite him talking about raping and having that zoo porn. So I don't think in-law actually cares.
Well, I'm not like debating whether in-law cares or not. That's a conversation you can have with in-law if you want.
That's the point.
I'm saying you took issue with an individual being an endless server, but you wouldn't name who it was.
Well, yeah, I'd take an issue with plenty of people being an endless server. She doesn't care. That's why.
I don't know if Lyle's going to want in-law in here. So
if in-law wants to talk to me, she can find my Discord. We can talk. But this is getting really long in the tooth that it's 9 p.m. here.
Yeah. You know what? Fair enough. And I think I've asked the majority of all my questions so far.
I do have one question for you, though.
Yeah.
Do you know Kato?
Not personally.
Are you able to message them in any way, shape, or form?
Sure. Is that what you want me to send a message?
Tell them to update their doggone spreadsheet. I've been waiting for 3 weeks and they're slacking on it.
I had a feeling that was going to be it.
Well, their spreadsheet's wrong to begin with.
Hold on. Is it wrong because it's too high or too low?
Well, it's wrong because it doesn't source how much they actually cost when I bought them, and 2, they haven't updated. I have intentionally put out things to make them updated, and they won't. I'm offended.
You're offended. Okay. Well, I've messaged and I've informed them to update it. But how much money would you say you've spent on toys?
Can you give me a time frame?
Would the last 3 or 4 years be too much?
Probably, because that's a lot of years, man. The point they were trying to make, and Galbanum/Ren was trying to make, is, Lio, you should have given that money to victims. All my YouTube money goes to other people. It doesn't go to me. The money I use to buy collectibles comes from my job after all of my bills are paid.
I don't know.
But I will.
That, but...
Well, I know, but I will say this. They listed it as $20,000, and there is no way it's that low. But also, I didn't pay $6,000 for Miku months. I paid $400. These people are insane.
You didn't spend. What about the 5,000? No, 50 grand on that animation of Charlie from Has Been Hotel chasing you. What about that one?
Well, I told you not to tell people that.
Now, I have a question for all 3 of you.
Okay.
I'm going to be getting started on a Peaches script. Would all 3 of you be willing to help me fact check it?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
I'll even give you access to my archives about all the data we have, because you want to know one reason why the video took so long is we poured through my DMs, Senate logs, DMs with other people, my text messages, so we have access to all of that.
Awesome.
Wait, hold on. There is one more thing I am curious about, actually. In your recent video, you show a screenshot of from Nezi Monster and Toasty, and you state that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Did you at all watch my FCK server video?
I saw a little bit of it. I haven't been able to see the whole thing. Crystal says that you cooked on it.
Yeah, you did good. You did good.
Did you? Okay. Who told you that screenshot contradicted something I had said?
The issue, well, actually, I don't even know the specific person who said so, but the main problem is, like, Nezi did try to stop something. And it seems like it's being pushed the idea that Nezi didn't do anything, that Nezi just did nothing but enable things, which is something that Ren specifically has pushed on the FCK Leaks account.
Okay. But in my FCK video, I state that Nezi did say something, and the screenshot you provided everyone says August 1st, 5:50 a.m. And that is because Nezi has like a time zone difference, different fucking continent. For me, it's July 31st. So even if we get into the pedantic details, it's 3 to 4 days. Nezi Monster only said something about the Slimmers porn chat to Toasty right after Ben the Looney was threatening the group to expose it. And in fact, one of the screenshots that Ben shared with me back in 2020 was of this porn chat dedicated to Slimmers as an SFW, and the fact that like people like the names Junkie were in there. So I had known about that, and that was one of the things that Ben was threatening to expose the group with. And then 4 days later, 3 to 4 days, however you want to take it, Nezi says something to Toasty to get Toasty to remove it. And in the screenshot, I don't know if you read the screenshot at all, Nezi says that it could become an issue. Not that the chat's existence was already an issue, that it could become one.
But what my issue with that statement is that you are making a correlation without inherently causation.
You don't think that it's coincidental for one, only 4 days afterwards to say something about the chat, and then also in the DM say that it could become an issue, that message isn't possibly hinting at the exposing of the group that they all knew was going to happen? Because Teddy told all of them in there, and voice chat and VC and text format, that Ben was threatening the group.
Then why would it take 4 days to Nezi to mention it?
I have no idea, but it was 4 days after that Nezi took it to the DMs of Toasty and then said it could become an issue.
But you're looking at this from the perspective of that's why Nezi must have done this, but we don't inherently know that that's the case, because we also, we as in other people have shown me other details that point that Nezi's had an issue with that for a while before the Ben Looney stuff.
Are you talking about the DMs that Doodles put in the recent video?
I can't remember if that was that or not, to be honest with you. While I was listening to Doodle's video, I was playing Castlevania 4. Recommended. But it's just there's more to it than that, and I can understand why you might have that perspective, not having access to that information. But I think inherently saying this must be why isn't exactly putting the best foot forward. I think that there can be correlation leads to causation, but it's not inherently doing that. Because
have you seen the other DMs with Toasty and Nezi?
I can't remember if I have or not, to be 100% with you, Chief.
I've seen what Doodle shared in the video, and
one at a time.
Oh yeah, you go first.
I was trying to further explain. It's been a pretty rough couple of months for me, so I apologize. My answers aren't always direct.
There's a point, again, I'm not too involved in the FCK, but it seems there's been multiple people, Peaches being one of them, being like, oh, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to expose this. And again, it's a question I asked even when I was first informed about this. Why wasn't it talked about? Like, why, again, I
think I know why it wasn't. Are you talking about the FCK? Why the FCK wasn't talked about? FCK, I think it's pretty obvious why it wasn't talked about. If you look at Nezi's statement that was released February 27th, it was said, can people stop kicking a 4-year-old hornet's nest? These people knew exactly what the chat entailed. Many of them, not all of them, but a good portion.
I was leading with that. It's just the idea of like these people who present themselves as helping others and everything along those lines, saying, oh, I'll call this out, but then did nothing. Again, it shouldn't have took you, Akumu, causing this much of a fuss for people to pay attention to this. This is a complete failure of all the CC creators within it. This server should have never happened and or got to the point it is. So I am really glad you've covered it, because I do feel like saying, oh, this could come a problem, definitely, like, it is a problem. The second porn is sent around children, it becomes a problem instantly. Not it could. So I completely agree with you here, Kumu.
Another thing that I'd like to point to is, I don't know if you've seen those DMs, but I think you should look at them. Because they don't... Doodle seems to think it helps Nezi's case, but it doesn't, because they confirmed that Nezi knew a lot more about Toasty and still said nothing to the public. And here's the thing, that's not my standard. I'm not saying you have to go public with this. That's not my standard at all. That's actually the SCC standard. And one of the calls where they were, one of the things that they got onto Tippy, correct me if I'm wrong here, was that Tippy knew what like V and whatnot was doing and never told anybody and tried to keep it secret.
No, that's not what that was about.
That's not what that was about.
It was about that. Well, everybody knew what V had done at that point. The problem was that Tippy and these other people knew that there was somebody who fraternized with V Omega, and made excuses for him and did nothing. So those aren't one-to-one comparisons. And again, that's talking about a predator. That's not talking about somebody just being. Well, at this point, I would say that there's a high possibility that Toasty is one with all the information we have now, not information that was had then. But that's not a one-to-one in the sense that that was predation related, and this one inherently at the time wasn't. It was just a bunch of adults not minding what they should around kids, which my standard is consistent. That is a problem. I think that that's something that needs to be spoken about and not repeated. And if you find something more egregious, obviously deal with it. That's why I treated Nil the way I did when I found out what happened in their server and other servers I dealt with, which of course I don't do videos on. But I think that there is an inherent issue with not saying something as a whole, but I don't think it's the same as dealing with the Tippy situation.
Well, this is where I was going to lead into this. Hold on, because I wanted to show you this really quickly right before we hop off. Did you watch Doodle Tones' recent video at the very least?
I remember listening to it, yeah.
Okay. Did you pay attention to the screen?
Not throughout most of it. Again, I was playing Castlevania 4. But if you got something that you think is contrary, let me know. I'm willing to leave you out. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So you can see in these screenshots that Nezi is accusing Toasty. This is August 17th of 2020. I'm going to give you the timestamp. I'm going to link you the video. It is 1:20, 22 seconds. So 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 22 seconds. You can see in these screenshots that Nezi Monster, August 17th of 2020, is accusing Toasty of being being a sexual harasser, comparing him to V Omega. Showing porn to people and whatnot. And in fact, in these conversations, you can see that Nezi knew that Toasty and Teddy were sending porn to one another. That's something that Toasty admits in these DMs to Nezi. So all these things. And I could be condemned for a fuck up and then falsely accused of doxing. publicly, but she can know about all of this about Toasty. Nothing's ever said. And this is August 17th, by the way. And just to add to this, guess what happened a few days later? August
No idea.
24th. You know the whole sexual harassment thing that we talked about in the Nezi Senate call?
I do actually.
The person that Nezi accused of sexual harassment over the photo being sent, that was August 24th of 2020. So just a few days later, Nezi could accuse someone, a minor, of sexual harassment when the supposed victim, didn't think it was, they were just made uncomfortable. They didn't say it was sexual harassment. Nezi admitted in the call with us that they took it to sexual harassment. So a few days later, after accusing Toasty privately of being a sexual harasser, instead of doing so publicly, despite knowing all this egregious shit about Toasty, instead accuses some random fucking minor, of sexual harassment, and then lies about it for several years.
So the Toasty thing happened first, then, is what you're getting.
The Toasty thing. So Nezi knew a bunch of shit about Toasty. You can read the screenshots. It's all August 7th. Most of those are August 17th of 2020. Like, comparing Toasty to V Omega. Saying that they don't want Toasty to end up like V Omega. That he's a sexual harasser. All that was said August 17th.
Gotcha.
But nothing was ever publicly said about Toasty. I could be condemned for far less, and yet publicly, just a few days later, could accuse a minor of sexual harassment based off of someone saying that they were made uncomfortable by a photo. Not that they were sexually harassed, but they were made uncomfortable by it. That's my issue with that whole thing. Like, the DMs don't help Nezi Monster out. It makes the hypocrisy of the whole situation way fucking worse.
I see. All right. So my question to you then would be, what do you think the correct answer should be to that then?
I just want the hypocrisy acknowledged, because the thing that these people have done for years now, and one of the reasons why I have the biggest issue that I have with them, is they paint themselves as these like moral figures that people should look up to, that they're extremely credible and whatnot, and anyone else that dares to criticize them is not credible by any means, and that they have these morals that are right there, right front and center, that they can condemn everybody else for. And in fact, Nezi went on to talk about how other people need to be held accountable. I've got all kinds of tweets of like really like, ironically, anime speech type shit, talking about like justice and how people need to get what they deserve from Nezi. But then you have these same people who catch a small lick, a small taste of criticism for what they did do and their involvement in something, and Nezi goes suicidal. Not from false accusations. So my issue, and what I would like from these people, is just to admit that they're hypocrites. Instead of just making excuses, instead of just trying to worm their way out of things, just admit to it. Because everyone else can see it, and that's why it's a topic now as much as it is because it's rampant.
Okay.
It's also something I've seen with the SCK, and it's something incredibly annoying. I need to be careful with my wording here. But it seems every time someone within the FCK and or surrounding community has been called out, these same people who have been preaching these moral standards for years, especially against Akumu, especially when he was a minor and harassing him. The second when they get called out, they, again, being careful with my wording here, they use what they've gone through as an excuse to get away from it. Like these horrible acts they've gone through, like being groomed, being taken advantage of, it's being used as a shield, and it's really sad to see, because yes, I do understand, I think we all understand that being groomed and being normalized to these behaviors does change your perception, but these are still your actions. For example, the dub which was called out, which I confessed to myself, which I've called myself out on before, I was groomed, I was actively being groomed, but I still take full accountability for me doing that dub. And that multiple ACC and CC creators are using their trauma as a get out of jail free card. It's just a kick to the face to a lot of victims who have also fucked up, but are willing to own up to it. I don't like the mentality of just because you're a victim, you can't do wrong. A victim can still victimize other people. And I don't like how it's been approached for so long.
Well, one thing that the ArtCC is good at is trying their best to control a narrative.
Yeah, it's like, hey guys, I've done these whole actions.
You know what? I have to commend them for that. As much as I hate it, as much as I dislike it, you have to say that they do put in the effort. You can't say that they don't.
Yeah, you can find them with a dead body, and they're like, "No, I was groomed into murdering them. It's fine, guys."
Yeah, guys, I know.
I
it's only
wish-
civil action, but I was groomed, guys.
I wish we had a freaking murder to cover. It'd be kind of nice for once.
Well,
It'll be a
hey,
nice change of scenery.
I was falsely accused of that twice, Lio Convoy.
You weren't accused of murder. You were accused of people of leading to somebody's suicide. I want like somebody to actually be accused of like killing someone in cold blood. Can we have a change of space? I'm kind of tired of it always being about predators. Can we please have a murder or an arson or Grand Theft Auto once? That'd be nice.
I
can't
think
wait
that
for that
requires
to
people to have some form of spine now to make
Not
that kind of
necessarily.
conviction.
These
Not
people
necessarily.
can't even own up to their own inactions to try and commit a murder. Yeah, no.
Listen. I was made to do it.
I was made to, guys, I was groomed into killing this person. You need to understand. Like, no, shut up.
And they always do it with things that just don't have a connection to. And I get it. Like, if you want to talk about it and sort of provide something, sure. But it's like what would be an example here? I talked about this in one of the TISM reports, but it's like when I addressed the doxing accusation, right? Like a lot of these people, and I think the FCK does this predominantly. They talk about the reactions to shit, but not once when I've talked about like me being accused of doxing have I said and looked to all the hundreds of comments I've received accusing me of that. I just addressed it and went about it.
Yeah, that seems something you and Mr. Convoy have in common. You've both been accused of doxing.
Well, I mean, he did admit to doxing, though. So
again, it depends on what you mean by doxing. It just finding public information is not doxing by definition.
Well, yeah, no, finding public information is not doxing. But
yeah,
you said that you found private information, haven't you?
No.
Well,
I don't know how
you've doxed predators, haven't you?
Well, again, that's private information. Doxing is private. I've never found private information. I use the white pages.
So that's all you've ever used?
Well, that and Intellius, both of which are public things.
Okay. All right.
This is why when you talked about me messing with your email, I'm like, I'm not smart enough to do that.
No, I didn't 100% think it was you. I did suggest it because it was really weird that someone, like, conveniently, as I'm working on all this and my video's about to come out, I get some account at like, what was it? I think 4 or 5 in the morning, signing my shit up on a bunch of different websites. And it was obviously like someone pissed off about all of this because of the names that they were doing. So.
But no, one thing I'm surprised, and again, Akumu, you've been your full right to say this, is like the amount of unending hate you got. Because again, when I was going back for your videos, like your Butters video, just seeing the amount of dislikes, it's like you have been made as a punching bag. And I'm glad that you've been able to get your voice out there and actually talk about this shit because this needs to be known. And I'm glad that people are taking you seriously now because you've had many valid points to make.
I see the chat talking about the fact that when doxing is the act of releasing private information publicly. So because Lio is right, the white pages is public, it's not doxing. You can still criticize Lio for that, but you can't say it's doxing.
I mean, would people criticize me for putting out information about predators?
Well, I think a lot of people, I don't know the specifics of it aside from the Jack stuff that we've already spoken about. But like an example of that, getting his information, I'm assuming probably off of the white pages. They don't like that. And other people have claimed that you've done this with other people, but I don't know the specifics of that, so I can't speak on that. That's chat.
Okay.
I think what people are trying to say, like with the doxing claims, you were going off the legal term, but there's this internet idea of any kind of private-esque, what people would describe as private. Like, yes, because of the white pages and US data protection laws suck, technically everything of that is like, public information. But in the sense of like how you hold yourself, if you don't want your legal name out there, even though it's public, it can feel incredibly invasive.
Have you ever tried? Hold on, actually, I'll let you finish. Sorry,
while the term doxing isn't correct, you kind of get what they're inferring to there. No one's going to say, wow, Lio's being incredibly invasive with what he's doing here. They're going to say, no, Lio's doxing because it's just a lot easier.
I think doxing has like worse legal implications. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm trying to argue. What I think chat's trying to say here, instead of doxing, they're perceiving you've been incredibly invasive, and they're just summing that up to doxing.
All right, so you were going to say something, Akumu?
Yeah, have you ever tried to IP grab people?
Oh, absolutely.
What would be some individuals you've tried to IP grab?
They're at the KS55T.
Damn straight.
Like the one, the main one, or the ripoff one that I see lurking around?
The main one. This is back when they were like trying to accuse Jar of child predation.
Ah, okay.
Because the account that was running the totally legit info, I had a feeling was chaos. So I had them follow a link, and yep, Portland, Oregon.
Anyone else?
I've had random people threatening me that I've had IP grabbed. I've had other people say that I've IP grabbed them when I haven't before. That was always weird. Like during the Fox Mafia stuff, some weirdo named Telfin said, "Don't click on any links to send it. It's an IP grabber." It's like, no, it's not. Stupid.
People are mentioning Gallagher.
Yeah, I think I did it to Gallagher too, because Gallagher came in saying that like they posted zoo porn.
They came in and just admitted it, just said, you know what, hey, I'm here and I posted zoo porn.
They said they were the one who did it.
One introduction.
Was it like the shit that Baji was like?
No. This
Okay.
was like real world animal abuse stuff. Now it finds out it wasn't him who did it, but that's why he got IP grabbed.
Well, they're saying you didn't. I don't know anything about that, so chat, I can't speak on that. I don't know jack shit about it. So if you all have an issue with it, clip the stream, make a little video about it. I can't. Oh, well, they are mentioning FCK leaks. Did you IP grab FCK leaks?
No, why would I? Okay, let me go ahead and be real. Well, no, let me be real blunt here. I know who runs FCK leaks. I have their phone number. If I wanted to find out where that person lived, I'd go to white pages. I'm not.
Then I'm guessing they're
so
curious on how you found out. Then that.
Oh, somebody told me.
Oh, I'm assuming Nil.
No, and I'm not going to tell you who told me.
That's fine. That's fair. I didn't tell you who told me. That's fine. That's fair.
I would like to add on to that though, even during all of it, because I don't know, that was when I was banned from the Senate. That was a really bad move from you, Lio. Like, and the Senate as a whole. Like, again, if people want to have, again, you have your reasons to not like them. I'm not getting involved with that. You guys have your own beef. I don't care for it. But just the Senate is very much mob mentality, very cutthroat. I had the same thing happen to me. The amount of people who were mocking me, when I was saying this isn't true, like doing that and making a public announcement in the Senate is putting that person at risk. And we both know the person who runs the account struggles with their mental health, and that could make them.
Hold on, let me go ahead and address that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why I took issue with Ren running that account?
I think you've explained to me, but like I said, I'm not really interested. I'm just saying in the idea of like just doing that in the Senate wouldn't be the best move.
Maybe not, and I'll take that criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, any criticism given to me in good faith can only help. So, like, the reason, because I think it was actually Akumu who brought it up in my stream, like, wondering why I brought it up in a whole if I wasn't trying to deflect from the FCK stuff as a whole. It's because Rin is unstable. They have parasocial obsessions. They're a stalker. That is, like, the worst person to trust with information like that. That was my issue.
Well, Rin wasn't the only individual I trusted, but I was trying to get, basically the idea was, I get a bunch of people that I can trust, and I didn't trust you. I still don't trust you. Nothing against you. Well, I have criticism.
I don't trust you. Nothing against you, but I don't trust. Come on, man.
I don't have anything personal against you. I just don't like the fact that you ran with shit like from Peaches telling you baselessly, and then you make all these videos and you say one thing in the conundrum video after the Crystal Flame call. So I do have things against you, but nothing personal.
Like, to be fair, Akumu doesn't really trust me either that much.
That is true.
Like, yeah,
What?
I constantly have to show Akumu screenshots of what I'm talking about, and even though it's like the 50th time it's happened, he still is like, "Show me screenshots. I want to know this is trustworthy."
I mean, it's fair to ask for evidence.
In this space, I don't blame anyone for being apprehensive around everyone.
But no, like, my question is, the problem is, like, Rin went on in my texts for over a year about how scared they were of the SEC and how they didn't want to deal with them and how they just wanted to be left alone and do their art. And then I find out they're running the FCK Leaks account. So why would you trust them with that specifically? Did they not?
I didn't know about all that. I didn't know the full scoop. I didn't know anything about like the DM stuff. That's that. I knew some vague shit about it. I didn't know anything about the full conversations between the two of you.
Really?
So there was that. I didn't know everything about that. No.
That
But
makes
secondly, I don't think Ren was trying to return to the SEC by any means.
It's not a matter of returning. It's a matter that they were terrified of the SEC. And what if I just do my art? They might harass me. And then what do? The minute they think they get, this is my reading on it, the minute they think they can get a one-up on the people they don't like, boom, there they are. The concerns, the panic, that's all magically gone the minute they think they can get a one-up. That's the problem I have.
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to raise this point, but if we're going off that standard, couldn't we hold Peaches to the same idea of like Peaches being terrified of Peaches and the whole glitch cell server and everything like that?
Oh, no question. You can absolutely do that.
Yeah, the second, there was proof on the other end being like Camilla's a terrible person, which she absolutely is. Peaches jumped on it so quickly. So all that fear and being scared can be raised instantly.
No, I can absolutely agree with that. I'm not. If you think I'm going to sit here and defend Peaches at this point, you are out of your mind.
No, well, yeah, now you're not going to. You were backstabbed. No. But beforehand, I think you were very, very determined to do so.
To what? Defend her at all costs?
Yeah.
To a point. Well, yeah, to a point, obviously. But it's not because I was backstabbed that I decided not to. And I had people literally, I didn't even know if I was going to respond to what Peaches said or just let it play out for a while. And you don't have to believe me on this because you weren't in these conversations. But again, I had to have people tell me what was actually going on. Crystal was part of that group when I passed them information.
You still need to hand me all the extra screenshots. You said
I'm working. You say you wouldn't even. That was yesterday. I said that.
So I have a question then in regards to this. Was it after Peaches did the whole backstabberoo that you realized you had been manipulated all this whole time?
Well, it's because I opened my DMs and conversations with other people.
That's and this was after the document release.
Well, yeah.
Okay. What was your initial reaction when the document was released?
I'm not going to tell you that because that's not appropriate for this this group.
Okay. Fair enough. So after Peaches did the backstab, that was when you spoke with other people and they were like, "Oh, this is very manipulative." Looking back, retrospect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Akumu, after this, can I talk to you in DM call? Because there's stuff you might want to know
about. Possibly.
Okay, awesome.
He already knows. He already knows you're British.
Terrible thing. I'm trying to hide it. I'm trying to get away with it.
Fix your accent.
I'm trying. But I'm in the same location where Peaches is. It's horrible.
By the way, what region is that accent from?
It is such a mishmash of all of the UK. I hate it.
Oh, that's actually a good question. So someone said, why you sat down your wife for Peaches?
Sat down my wife for Peaches. Do we have any evidence of that, or is it just a claim?
I've just heard through word of mouth that you sat down your wife for Peaches.
That's probably going off the screenshot from the group chat, which I don't like how it's being used. Because I'll address it here. This is the only time I talk about it because basically, I was more than willing to forward everything that Peaches said about Jordan in the Glitch Cell group chat. It's not a server, it's a group chat, to Jordan. And there was one of the screenshots in relation to, they asked for more context. I was like, okay, that's fine. And it showed a mention of Peaches talking about Lio's wife. And instead of the main focus being about what has been said about Jordan from Peaches, that screenshot became like a complete lolcow. So I think that's what the image. Again, people can do that. I get the internet. So yeah.
Is it a true claim from Peaches that I sat my wife down? No. Did not sit my wife down. Because Peaches also claimed that I threatened to divorce my wife to keep people in line. That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, that that's when I was suspecting that this was all bullshit, because, like, why would anyone do that? Like, hey, you do what I say or I'm going to divorce my wife. It's what?
Yeah, no, Peaches is not a trustworthy source. Like, there's a lot of shit in the group chat, which I'm going to be making public soon, which I 100%. The way how Peaches would go about talking about that stuff, they would just come into the group chat, no warning, no anything, and just vent all the issues they have with Lio, have with Harley, have with Omnia, and just dramatize everything out of it. It's the idea of poisoning the well again.
At least this answers the question as to why the drama around her, I mean him, blew up so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the thing like that like I'm shocked by, I guess, is I this whole thing, right? We could have spoken earlier. You said you were busy, but I know that you were running around in various calls, such as were you not calling Doodles and Nezi Monster and all of them?
I was not calling Nezi Monster when I was in calls with.
I'm talking about
Doodle
like
Tones.
with all of them. Talking about with all of them.
them.
You work on the videos.
Yeah, when I worked on the videos, that's me being busy, Akumu.
So and then again, all of this could have been for a good portion of it early on. How about February? You were busy in February, but we could have called then. That was when I started pushing for this call in February.
Yeah.
And you instead did a bunch of Senate calls.
Yeah, while I was at work. Having a sit-down conversation with somebody isn't the same as having people in your ear and talking about a situation that doesn't have that much information to it. Essentially giving anecdote. Now,
what
as
about
far as
the
the
28th call then?
28th call, which one was that?
February 28th. This was the same call where you said that the same call that we talked about before, where you said that like I had been like withholding it from everyone. That same call.
Was that while I was on my main or at work?
It doesn't show. That's why I'm asking you if you were at work that day.
Ooh, I'd have to know when that call happened because I was probably at work.
The point I think Akumu is trying to make is that if you guys talked it out like near the beginning, maybe even before the whole
February, March, April.
Well, no, we still probably wouldn't have been able to because I wouldn't have been able to give him an honest answer of why he was banned from Senate, because what would have happened is I would have said, Peach said you harassed them. Where's the evidence that I harassed them? I would have had to gone to Peaches and asked for it, and Peaches would have melted down on me again. It wouldn't have solved that problem. And that would have been a main point of contention he and I would have had.
Well, that's an interesting sound.
That's Gidget. She always wants Anne.
The cat is pawing at the door. Let me
Yep,
in.
that's Gidget.
Let me
Yeah.
in.
Yep, that is Gidget. That's what she does. We got anything else? Hello?
Akumu?
Akumu died. This is so sad, chat.
Yeah, it's my mic. Anyway, so what I was going to say was, does anyone in the chat have any more questions before we wrap this all up? And if anyone has any issues, because again, actually, hold on, what does that say? I mean, he denies working with. Actually, why did you deny working with with that? You said you didn't work with Nezi Monster on the video, but I wasn't saying you worked with Nezi Monster in the video. I was saying in general, and you did get screenshots from Nezi, didn't you? Or was that someone else?
I didn't get those screenshots from Nezi.
So how'd you get a hold of the DMs between the two of Nezi and Toasty? From Toasty?
I told heck no. If I had contact with Toasty, do you think my focus would be on screenshots from somebody else? No, it would be trying to wring the little weirdo's neck.
Have you tried reaching out to Toasty? I
No, I haven't.
I'm teeter-tottering. There was some kind of conversation at one point that was potentially had. I don't know. I don't trust Toasty with it. I can't trust Toasty. So I don't know.
Who would? But no, I haven't spoken to Toasty. I was actually planning on, if I were to find some way to get a hold of him or get anything about him, like seeing what we can get together, we meaning you or I or whatever, to see if we can forward anything to the authorities. Because from what I understand, he sexually harassed a lot of minors.
Okay, Laced, if you have an issue in chat, how about you state it instead of saying, I have a question, I have a question. Why don't you just state the fact? Just state the
I'm not going to lie, Akumu. You have one of the most retarded chats I've ever seen in my life.
Like, you got all these people that are asking their questions, and you're like, I have a question, pick me. So say it, just
raise your hand and wait for the teacher to call upon you. Name.
I have the talking stick.
I think I can add, so I'm going to leave now. But thank you for having me.
I'm trying to find questions that are relevant here.
Well, have a good night, or I guess you live in the UK, day, Crystal.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah. I'll work on my Peaches script. Please help me fact check it and all that jazz.
Awesome.
Actually, really quickly, Lyle.
What's up?
Were you behind the attempt to drag Mad Libs into the Senate to berate Mad Libs for misinformation over the doodles? The doodle shit?
I don't recall anything like that.
Never a conversation about that?
I don't think so. If somebody has evidence of that, I'd like to see it, because I don't recall ever trying to get Mad Libs in there. It'd probably be funny if we did, but I don't recall ever getting her in there or trying to get her in there.
Okay. And I don't know anything about this, but I will ask the question. They said, ask Lyle why he had Sunny V2 come into the Fox Mafia and to gather info.
Sunny V2? The YouTuber?
I don't fucking know. I don't know anything.
I think they're talking about the Welsh girl.
Oh, the Welsh man, Untitled Sunny. Actually, Sunny didn't initially go in there to gather information. That's just what they wound up deciding to do with it. They initially showed up there out of curiosity.
Okay, wait. Is Sunny trans now?
Sunny's been trans.
Oh my god, everybody in the RCC is trans, I swear.
Well, this is why I have the trans gun. I turn people trans, Jar. Don't you know the lore? You're next.
Oh no.
Finally, you'll get some art that you want.
Hooray.
Also, actually, I do have a question for you, Lyle. In your video, you state that you have the original version of Kumo's video.
Yeah.
But then you state that he didn't provide the context.
No, he didn't. But
Did
again,
you
I think
watch
that's
the original video.
I did watch the original video. The context comment was made from the second video. That's where he said that, nobody has the context.
Yeah,
first
but
video.
That he's
the
never
first video,
given the context to anybody.
He hasn't given proper context.
Did you?
Because
did
I
you
have
watch
watched
the-
this first. I did, and that's why I
full
pointed
one?
out the problem. Yeah, I have the 23-minute version. That's what I was pointing out, the inconsistencies with the tale. But that's a conversation I'd rather have with you privately, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, you put it out in a public video. Why not?
I did, but I'm talking about a specific conversation with you. If people think I'm wrong, they can make video responses. I don't care.
Would you ever be willing to have a mediated discussion with Kumo?
I can consider it.
I mean,
It probably wouldn't be good for you to be the mediator, though.
I wouldn't say me as the mediator. I'd like to witness it. I think it would be productive. I've seen a lot of shit. Have you seen his video that it came out at one point? He ended up unlisting it because he felt like it was negatively impacting another video or something like that. But I know that the video that you're saying you've watched, the 23-minute one, does that? Are you saying it doesn't go into the DMs that the between the two of them or the group chat?
That's the very first video he put out. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, I watched it when it aired.
So why are you saying you didn't get into the context?
Because it's not actually the context. That's why. And again, when I made the comment about context, that was in reference to his second video on it. That's literally called More Context. It doesn't actually give real context there. It doesn't make any sense. What he's saying is incongruous. That's what I'm getting at.
So you don't think that the chats between him and Asta or the DM, the group chat conversation is relevant to the context?
I believe, even based on your own values from what we've seen here, there's so much that people can and cannot control. The problem I have is what Kumo has said versus what I have seen and versus how he conducts himself afterwards, which is what I said in the video.
Have you seen the logs of the group chat or the DMs between the two of them?
When it comes to the logs, it's not really inherently relevant to what I am covering in the video. Because
yeah,
Kumo,
but if you're going to push the accusation, and he's saying, you know, you don't have the context, and you're saying he's never given the context, but he's also talked about it at least in a video.
I'm saying he's lying about the context.
What is
I had an entire again, if we want to have more in-depth conversation about that later, I will with you. But if it's something that Kumo takes issue with, we'll figure something out there. The problem is I had a conversation with Kumo about this a year ago.
Okay.
Where I flat out told him that if he wanted to move on and grow from that, he can. He's welcome to. He doesn't have to do so in my spaces. But you cannot simultaneously say you regret an action and then literally make a joke out of it later. You can't. What's the point of that? Does that show regret? No.
Well, I think the joke comes from the fact that you and your audience keep making the claim.
And that's something to be joked about because
you're saying he made her cut.
And the clip doesn't prove that because
it shows that he suggested it. And it
shows that he suggested it, and it shows that he found it humorous to do so. And that he found it so humorous that he had her put a wet paper towel on her leg to signify that it was his name.
Okay, one at a time.
Well, hold
please.
on. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So this is a point that I made on my previous stream. But when it comes to Peaches, you insisted that the context needed was that Peaches had been groomed and was still under the effects of their groomer at the time of being in the FCK, which was while Peaches was 19, 20. Then with Doodles, you said that Doodles had been groomed, and that explains the degenerate behavior, although the degeneracy was before the grooming took place. So I'm going to apply that logic back on this.
Go ahead.
The shit with and you're saying that you've seen at least the DMs and the full group chat. So if you have, and if you've seen his full video on that, or even his other video, because I think he's made about 2 or 3 going over it, you should certainly be able to see the fact that he was pushed into this behavior.
I can see that he was pushed into some of the behavior, but sitting there in call, giddily, humorously, enjoying somebody doing that is not him being pushed into it.
I'm not saying the call particularly is. I'm saying that this is something that built up and led up to that call. And then persisted afterwards. But Asta's no longer around and that behavior hasn't continued. So I'm confused as to why, and purely, I'm not saying you can't laugh about it. I want to make that very clear.
No.
What I am saying is that your audience, take issue with, people talking about Peaches in the FCK. You say that the fact that Peaches was groomed is very much needed context. That's what you said. But then when you talk about Kumo, and you apparently have seen these DMs and the group chat, you don't I haven't seen a single video of yours where you provide that. And that's why I think that a conversation between the two of you going over that would be good.
And I told you we'd consider it.
Are you worried about something?
No. Why would I be worried about anything right now? I'm playing Castlevania.
But you're saying you'd consider it if you're talking with me. What's the difference of talking with him? And it'd be completely 2 different subjects, and you can hash it out there.
And do you think that inherently means I'm worried about something?
Well, I'm saying you'd consider it. So if you're willing to talk with me, what's the difference with talking with him about that?
Because I don't have a bunch of things concerning you where you're sitting there threatening to rape someone first and foremost. Kumo's unhinged.
Fucking beta brush call.
Okay.
Kumo's unhinged.
Okay.
Kumo is unhinged. And I've had multiple people come to me concerned about his behavior. I have people who know you, who like you, who are terrified of Kumo because they're unhinged.
Could you give me an example?
Unfortunately, I can't because I have been requested to not. I'm just telling you that has happened.
Right. Okay, everybody. Okay, I'm fucking tired. I've been up since 3 a.m. Yeah. No. Can you two behave yourselves if I leave?
Well, it's
God
already
doggone it!
God damn it! Mute your phone next time you do one of these calls.
Jar, you're about to get one too.
I know. I'm gonna mute my phone right now.
Lio, mute your phone. What do you mean my phone's going off too?
Okay, well, I'm gonna go now. See ya two later. Oh, there it goes. Even when I
Told
muted
you.
it still went through. All right.
I
Good
think
night,
you have to
everybody.
turn them off through the settings.
I don't think you can turn off an Amber Alert.
All right. Well, I think you should talk with them about it. And I think you're a bit inconsistent when it comes to the whole groomed stuff and like what you can and can't joke about in regards. And I'm not saying you can't joke about it. What I am saying is you take issue when it's being joked about with other people, and you state that the grooming is in reference to Peaches and
Wait.
in reference to Doodles.
How is what? My problem would be consistent then. If I take issue with you people joking about Doodle and Peaches, I'm also taking issue with Kumo making jokes about getting someone to cut themselves. That's consistent.
But you've
That's not
also
inconsistent.
mocked him and made jokes about it too.
When did I make jokes about him causing a girl
Didn't
to
you
cut herself?
refer to him? What was it in the video? You said something about cut my name into your thigh. So you make fun of him for it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying that you take issue with Doodles being made fun of.
That's not me taking a joke about the situation. That's me pointing out what he's done.
If you take issue, okay, same thing with Doodles, but you take issue with that and say that shouldn't, you should, and keep in mind the context is that Doodles was groomed. And I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong on that. I'm saying that there is an inconsistency there. And I think that if you're going to insist that needs to be brought up anytime that's brought up, the role play, that the grooming has to be brought up, okay, fine. But then when you talk about Kumo, you don't ever get into what led up to that behavior, what happened afterwards. And he's provided much of that context in at least 2 to 3 videos. You having one of them that you say somehow isn't relevant, which I've seen the video myself, and I've also seen another video that he did that go way in depth into it.
Okay.
If he agreed not to be unhinged, as you put it, for a call, would you be willing to do it?
I literally told you, even with him being unhinged, that I'd consider it.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have any more questions at this point.
I'll have some for you later, but that's not something that needs to be on a stream.
All right. Well, but yeah, I think it's what time is it? Almost 12 for you?
No, it's almost 10.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep time zone shit. I got to keep that in mind. Ask him. Grimskull wants to know. Where's it at? Grimskull wants to know. Apparently, there's a minor in his circle that Josh supposedly groomed. I don't know anything about that either, but that's a question Grimskull has.
Okay, that's something Grimskull told me in the call we had. That's why Grimskull wound up reporting the guy to the Center for Missing Exploited Children.
Well, Grim, you have your answer. So clip it, take issue with it. He's saying you told him that.
He has the call. He's published it before.
He says, no, I didn't, dumbass.
Very intelligent response. About what I expected from him, though.
That's literally not true. I don't know what. Oh, okay, all right, okay. If happen, okay. Some of this shit I don't know what it's referring to is the problem. So it's not. I can't exactly be the arbiter of all of your all's questions to shit that I can't.
I will say one. I will say that one thing to Grimskull. Hey, Grimskull, why don't you tell Akumu what you actually thought of him? You know, in the call you had with other people from Fox Mafia. Why don't you tell Akumu what you said about him?
Well, that'll be fun. Oh, Two Black is here.
I'm sure he is.
He says, hold on What is Two Black saying? I'll go live and buy it right now if he answers. Hi, Two Black. Yeah, okay, so I think this is where we're gonna end the stream. I'm getting tired. I want to cook. You probably got shit to do. You're enjoying Castlevania, so
Yep. Also, I'll be going to bed here because it's like 10 o'clock and I'm old.
So good night, folks. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And okay, I'll take this one last question. I have a question for Lio. What are his thoughts on the Senate interviews from Tommy House? And I think Tommy had a question about saying something about you accusing him of live streaming Nil's suicide attempt. I don't know anything about that.
That is literally not what was said. I never said anything like that. However, I do find it interesting, though, Tommy, that you put up people without verified information, which, by the way, I will be talking about, all because you're mad that I called out Carmen Ryder because that Lollycon's a big friend of yours. So, interesting behavior from you, Tommy. Don't worry. We'll talk about it later. But no, I never said you streamed Nil's suicide. That's the heck. Nil streamed their attempt. Which, by the way, I will say I find it interesting that all of you, this of course doesn't include Akumu, but all of those people in the stream, were sitting there. These are people who have been ragging on me, people who have been talking trash about me, but the minute you think you need my help, Lio, please do this for me. Lio, please call somebody. Lio this, Lio that. You guys got to grow up. You're sitting there talking trash about me and then demanding I do things for you in the same breath. What is wrong with you people? Good Lord.
Okay, yeah. So there's questions on shit that I don't know about, and it's going way out there.
Yeah, and I imagine you're tired of being the mouthpiece for these people's questions. If you're talking, I ain't hearing you. But I'll tell you what, Tommy, you're not banned from the new server. If you want to come in and ask questions or talk, you're welcome to.
All right. I'm back. Yeah, so I'm getting tired. Oh my god. This is a question for Akumu. Will you enlist those videos? Which video are you referring to, John Jake?
It's your secret furry review porn video.
I'm willing to interview Lio. I have questions for him all ready to go. Tommy wants to interview you.
Cool. We can hop in the server and we can get that scheduled.
Okay, there you go, Tommy. You got your interview. I mean, I could delete the video if that's what is wanted. I made a video retracting it. I put a thing in the comments and the description. But if Lio wants it deleted, sure. But at the same time,
snipping out the accusations of you in the conundrum video, I'd imagine.
That would be fair. That would be
I
fair.
believe that would be, and that is more than reasonable. I just got to figure out how to do that. Which, by the way, I still don't. How do I unblock you from YouTube? You're a Zoomer. You should know this.
I quit doing the block and like hiding people's shit in 2020, so I haven't fucked with that in 4 years. Simply, why did you hold back FCK leaks from releasing info until your video was up? Simply because I didn't trust certain individuals that were trying to get a hold of it, and were also for some reason trying to get in contact with me really weirdly out of nowhere in a very suspicious manner. So that was my issue to begin with that. I think I said something about it in the fucking when Lio talks in the 28th Senate call video.
Well, I suppose I have one more question for you before the stream ends, because we both do need to go. It has been a while.
Yeah, what's up?
How do you feel about that FCK account essentially becoming an account about me instead of the actual main focus?
I reached out to Ren a few times, and I was like, look, you want to you can provide your opinion here and there, but you don't want to go like, you don't want to go overboard. with it. Of course, I mean that I was listened to initially, but towards the end, it didn't go anywhere. So, but luckily, Ren went back to their own account and just does it there. So I mean there is that, and I do get talking about you though on the account because I mean let's be real, you kind of were white knighting for Peaches a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not even gonna say a little bit. You were white knighting for Peaches, so I
Unquestionably.
get the conversation about you, but I think it towards that end portion there, it really ramped up. Oh, Kato says apologize for calling me a slob, and I'll update the spreadsheet of your toys to a more accurate number.
You better.
Oh, it sounds like he really wants you to update it, Kato.
Well,
I
it's
still
kind
think
of
you
dumb.
should talk with Kumo though. Seriously, I
Yeah,
still
I know.
think,
You made that pretty clear. You made that pretty clear. But just to direct Kato real quick, if you want to talk, you can come on the server. I can figure out how to unban you. I think you got migrated to the ban list. But like you listed action figures I was given as a kid by their eBay value. You're dumb. Trashed off my collecting. We'll see what you get. All right, I think that's enough though. We both got stuff to do.
Two Black does want to know why he was banned from Senate.
Why would we have him there? Also, Senate doesn't even exist anymore other than an archive, so
I'm thinking he was probably banned in the past. I think he's referring to that.
maybe.
But yeah, I've pretty much asked all the questions I can think of, plus everyone else's. No, I wouldn't say everyone else's, but the majority I can think of that I know about.
Well, I would hope that going forward they at least send you a super chat to ask a question instead of just relying on you to do it for them. You guys like Akumu, you could at least support him.
I don't have. I don't have. I'm not monetized. I don't have that all set up.
Well, you can get something to allow it, like a Ko-Fi or something. There are ways around that.
Oh, here's a question from Gizmo Glory. So Peach's behavior on the Rosa call was his usual behavior behind closed doors. Also, will Senate's archive be available publicly? That actually is a good one.
No, I don't think it'll be available publicly because like people already have logs that have made it public, so I don't think I need to. I'd be kind of double dipping at that point. As far as Peach's behavior in that call, some of it was more common behind the scenes, not all of it. But they apparently acted pretty horrendous behind the scenes, and a lot of times, which some of you will be seeing more of, because again, I have the exports of their personal server that went on during all of this, and they say things about me that I don't think I've even said about predators. So it's pretty awful. Gotta be 100% with you.
I bet. I still think it is. I still think you're very gullible, and
Okay.
to fall for that. A year of what would be summed up as suicide baiting to get you to go at people or to not do certain things or not giving you evidence on things and you just running with it. It has started a catastrophe.
Yep, and you can have your value, and I agree that it's caused problems. Not going to argue that one. I've been upfront about that. It's why I've issued apologies. I hope you're never put in a situation like that, honestly.
Beach shrimp, you have to. I don't know what you're referring to. You know what? I'll ask it. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but I will ask it. Ask Lio why he's okay with Doodle Diapers, DGen, ABDL shit when he gets on grooming victims that are traumatized and have mental issues. Answer this. This person really wants that asked.
I don't at this point. If you're referring to getting onto jibs, that was awful, and I'm regretful for it, which is why I apologized publicly and privately. The heck?
What the fuck is this individual saying? Just another non-existent terminal. I'll let you two go under the bus again for something I didn't do. There will be worse things than pizza from Two Black. Don't ever threaten Elios or my family. Take care. What the fuck? I'm guessing this is the individual that's sending you pizzas.
And what's their screen name?
Just another what is it? Just another like non-existent terminal. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to send me that screenshot so I can forward it to the police, I'd appreciate that, because I'm sure swatting's in my direction sooner or later.
There's another question. Oh, I think someone was asking. Where's it at? It's the last question. There was one. Okay. Yeah, the guilty by association thing. Why do you constantly do that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by guilty by association, I suppose.
Well, we could give an example of the DMR where you said that I hang out with Pedo and Zoo Defenders.
Yep, Fox Mafia people is what I was referring to there. So I guess my
hang
question,
out with that's from Fox Mafia.
That would have been people like Gilded Pooh and God, what is his name? North.
I've never hung out with North.
Well, you're lucky then.
I think was Pooh from Fox Mafia, or was he momentarily in there? And you're just saying
he was
part of them.
He was from it. In fact, I have an entire like DM group from August of 2022 where they were plotting nonsense against Coyote and I, and Blab took no issue with one of them saying that they were going to pass dox information from about Senate members off to a pedophile.
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about that, so I can't contest to that. But I'll ask Vlad about that. And
I can hand you the DM channel. I can hand you all of it. I've got the exports.
No.
Sure.
What else? But so you did that, which, and then also in your video you mentioned that I share a server with Gilded.
Mm-hmm.
What was that about?
Was that in-law server?
No, you said that I because Gilded was in the same server as me, so it's the company I keep.
Yeah, if that's company that you keep, I question a lot of things. Because what do you mean? Let's go ahead and define our terms here, which again, we were supposed to stop, but neither of us will.
Yeah, well, this will be the last. I promise this will be the last.
Allegedly. Allegedly the last thing. When you say guilt by association, what do you mean?
Oh, this person associates with this person, therefore bad.
Okay, when I think guilt by association, I don't understand if people have done some horrendous things, why you'd want to keep them around, especially if you know about it, which is my main point. Like, if you know these people do horrible things, why do you think it's acceptable to have them around? Because there is an argument to be made that you are part of the company you keep.
I think if if an individual participates in the behavior, it's one thing. But I think me being in a Discord server with Gilded doesn't necessarily mean that me and him are buddy pal and I'm a-okay with everything that he gets up to. Same going for him with the shit that I get up to. Me and you have been in the Senate before. I doubt that means that you sign off and are giving me a thumbs up on everything I've ever done.
True, but my question is, I guess, what is your line then for stuff like that?
It would have to be like, hold on, actually, to go back to the whole Gilded pedophile thing really quickly. Not being a pedophile, but the fact that you're saying he sent information to a pedophile.
He was in a group chat and took no issue with them doing that. And the problem that I have on consistency
was he aware of this individual being a pedophile? Okay.
Well, hold on. It wasn't that person was a pedophile. Is that somebody in that chat said they were going to hand Senate doxes off to a pedophile. And Gilded was there. He was in that conversation, took no issue with it. And the problem I have with consistency on that is Pizza last year said that if Cass Warfox was going to do harm to a very specific person, that at that point, Pizza would dox Cass because of the damage that Cass would be trying to do to this person who they had no right to do, essentially. Gilded freaked out about that specific thing and made an entire fuss on social media about how he disassociates with Pizza and he finds that deplorable and unacceptable. He said multiple times in public, well, I detest doxing. I don't stand for it, but he has no problem with it in private. That's the problem I have with consistency on his end. least concerning doxing specifically. That and wanting to hand doxes off to a pedophile, like that's the heck is wrong.
And
with
you're
people?
saying he knew that this individual was a pedophile.
Well, the guy literally said, "I'm going to pass it off to this diaper pedophile I know."
Okay.
It wasn't even one of those. It was a random name and no other context. Like the dude who was saying he was going to pass the doxes off literally said it was to a pedophile.
Oh, also at Akumu, I'll rephrase it before you go. He needs to stop using my name. I did nothing to this dude so he can keep my name out of his mouth. This is
Who?
from the same guy that
I don't even know
apparently
who
is
that guy
talking about
is.
this. I don't know either. I don't know either. But yeah, this is the end of that. I think that's enough fucking questions. You guys are asking me about shit I don't know anything fucking about. But yeah, that's pretty much it so far. Thanks for coming on and having this chat.
Sorry you had to deal with the lunatics.
It is what it is.